What's up, everybody? Hopefully, you guys aren't too freaked out by me changing the time 4 or 5 times today. It's been a crazy day. So we got a lot to talk about, though. I'm going to try to hit as much as I can for you guys. This is an Ask Surfer, so it's also about you guys asking questions, and I do my best to try to help answer them with the limited knowledge I have. So anyway, happy Sunday. Hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. Mine's been a little busy. I'm focused on getting my house ready to sell this week, so I'm taking the week off, and I'm going to be going crazy on stuff here. There probably won't be a whole lot coming out on the channel until probably do a midweek live stream, and then we've got the Wounded Warrior Project coming up next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the auction for that. And I think it's a good cause. I've donated to it. I think it's a great way for people to get a tax write-off. I think it's a great way for you guys to also get silver out of the whole mix of it too. So that's kind of the strategy with the whole thing. But more importantly, you're helping a bunch of people and families that have gone through the ringer with medical issues due to serving our country, which I think is a great cause. The other thing I'll just throw out to you guys too, with all of the festivities that are coming up, look in your local community. Maybe you're traveling somewhere for next weekend. There's going to be a lot of fireworks going off, a lot of celebrations going on. You may have some great things that are going on in your area to celebrate the 250-year anniversary of the United States, which I think is an awesome thing, especially for us that are here in the country. And if you guys haven't seen the videos, there's a lot of videos out there from people that are visiting for the World Cup that have been quite surprised of what it's like to visit the United States, to be here in America, versus what they were told or what they believed. And I still think this is the greatest country in the world. I think a lot of other people have great countries too, but I think this is, at least the way that I'm able to experience the country, one of the most free places that you can be, and places that allow you to reach your dreams and be able to enjoy your family and do a lot of great things. I know not everybody's in a situation like that, but that's what this channel is for. I want to help you guys become more financially free, and I want to liberate you guys from, from having to do things to support yourself versus wanting to do things to support yourself, and then eventually getting to the point where your assets are generating more income than your day job is, and then being able to spend more time to help people and do things. So if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. I'll do my best to get to them. If you do an @surfer, it'll help a little bit. I'm trying to charge my phone over here so I can hopefully pull those up too. If we get more than 100 people in here, you may need to do a super chat for me to even see it. Same with mods. It's just really hard to see it over on the side of my screen here. They don't give us a lot of real estate for that. If you do a super chat, it automatically scores that over here as well. All right, so we are going to have a couple great things that are coming up. Couple quick disclaimers. Everything that I talk about here today is my opinion. I am not a financial advisor, so do not take anything I say and make financial decisions based on them without doing your own research. It's on you. Okay, you guys are you're adults and you're responsible for your own actions. If you can't take the heat on things, then I say do not cook. All right. So we have seen silver and gold linger for several years. Okay, for decades. Okay, for 45 years to be exact. And we had a spike. So if we go back to, let's just talk silver. We've had a 45-year cup and handle for silver. We go back 45 years. There was a spike in 1980. Okay. And then we saw it go back down, and it stayed there all the way until 2011. We had another big spike up. And then we had that wait all the way until 2025, kind of at the end of it, beginning of 2026, spike up, and now it's come back down. It hasn't dropped as much as it dropped during those other times. And I do think things are a little different right now. However, I do think we need to look and see what's happened in the past to better understand why things have dropped where they have. If you're a stacker, you shouldn't be worried about anything right now. I mean, honestly, if you've been stacking since I would say 2022 or earlier, you really shouldn't be worried about where prices are today. Okay. Stackers aren't looking to sell it and buy something else right off the bat. Now, if you're a stacker like me, you may have different stacks. So you may have your deep stack that you're going to pass on to your family. You may have another stack that's for SHTF. You might have another stack that just has to do with investments down the road. So that stack you might be a little bit concerned about. And then you may have other stacks that are maybe short-term, a short-term place to put money because you don't want to put it in the bank and you don't trust it. In general, the game is about getting ounces, accumulating ounces. If you're a stacker, if you're an investor, it's about return on investment. So sometimes metals are going to be a better investment than other things, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time you're going to be better off doing stocks, real estate, and crypto. Metals really don't move that much. So if you're an investor, it's probably a very small percentage of your overall investable portfolio. If you're a stacker, it might be a very large portion of it because you tend to be a saver. Okay, and savers aren't really looking for a big ROI, but what you are looking for is to beat inflation. Okay, and there's times where we're going to kill inflation with gold and silver gains. It's going to go way above it. So look at January, right? December, January, it went way above the inflation gain that we had if you adjust everything. And it's come back down now. So I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about gold versus silver, gold and silver, gold or silver. Okay. What am I doing in my strategy? What am I looking at? I haven't been silent because I don't have something to say. I've been silent because right now happens to be a time where I'm super busy and I just don't have the time to get out here and get a live stream going. I've been trying to do it for several days now. Today, you guys saw me push it back multiple times. I just haven't had the time to get out and put content out. It'll probably be about a month before I get, very many than 1 or 2 videos out. Unfortunately, the hydroponic garden has died and has been removed. It did not work. So I had to go to Vegas for a work trip for a week. And I think I put too much fertilizer in it before I left. And I think I fried it all. And I just don't have time to keep it up right now. So that's not there. I will probably still put the video out to just show you guys some ideas on some things you can do for our members only. So I haven't forgotten about those. I'm just super busy, guys. I've got a full-time job that takes about 50 to 60 hours a week. And then I try to fit this in. I'm also a dad, and I'm trying to figure out how to get my house ready to sell. And at the end of the day, I haven't touched my finances in about 3.5 years since I've started this channel. So I also have to deal with my investments. So if the market goes crazy, I've got to get in there and readjust things and do different things. And I've got to make sure that I'm taking care of my family as well. So, bear with me as we go about doing some of those. You've got a lot of great channels out there, guys, when I'm not able to be super loud about things that will give you great advice. I recommend following multiple channels. A handful of these guys, their channels are large enough that they're able to support their family off of this. This is what they do. Some of them aren't really putting in even 40 hours a week anymore. They're putting in maybe 10 or 20, just because they've built their channel and they have the ability to do that. That usually takes time, though. We're at 3.5 years. A lot of those channels didn't really hit the mark until 6 or 7 years into it. And then it depends on timing. So we're going to do our best to try to do that. I do have dreams of having this be more of a full-time thing for me, if not the only thing I'm doing. And if we get to that point, which I hope we do, I want to go out panning for gold. I want to put together expeditions that some of you guys, if you want to, can come join me, and we'll go pan for gold. We'll go get a stake of claim. I want to go visit many cities, different coin shops to meet you guys, and to also get out there and see what's going on around the country. I also want to go to the mines, go check them out. And I want to go to the refineries and the mints and check that stuff out too. So there's all this cool stuff that I'd like to do, guys. That'll be fun in time. We'll get there. I do have a website that should be going live next Thursday. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to have a few issues. I noticed one of the pictures looked like it had a baby on a surfboard, since we're using some AI for that, and it totally screwed it all up. So we're having to redo some of those things. but we're going to add some fun calculators. We're going to put other tools in there that can help you guys in between the videos that come out. Okay, so look for that coming up. And then if OC Stacker jumps on here, which I don't know if he's on or not, I might have him come up to just show some of the items we're going to be doing for the Wounded Warrior auction. But I don't know if he's on here. Usually he misses the live streams these days. I don't know. I think he's pretty busy with other stuff. All right, so I'm going to go look at your questions real quick, and then I will get into a little bit about silver and gold and where I'm going with it, and what my plan is. So, and I think I've got a few pieces here I might be able to show you guys too. So I did just take some stuff into grade. I just took in 2 Marine American Silver Eagles for 2000. I think those came out this year, but it might have been the very end of last year. But the 250-year anniversary with the Marine Privy on them. And then I also took in a 2021 Morgan dollar that I got from an auction. And then the 4th coin, let's see, that's 3. And then I took in a set of reverse Morgan and peace dollars for last year. So those are getting graded. Those 5 coins are going to cost me $300 to grade. And once they come back and we look at them, I will share those with you guys, and we'll talk about, was it worth spending $300 to get them graded, for 1. And then 2, what do I plan on doing with them? And if I plan them, how long do I have to wait before it's profitable to flip them? And you guys might ask, why would you flip something like that? Well, part of it is to get more ounces, right? So it's a little bit of fun that you can have with it, and then hopefully it multiplies your ounces for you. Okay, so I want to see the questions you guys have. I got to get my glasses here so I can actually see. And it's quiet house today, so, which is kind of fun. Let's see. I know some of you guys tried to get in here earlier today, and I had to postpone stuff. So let me try to go to our launch time here just to see who's in the chat today. Let's see. Okay. So I always like what Alan Satoshi Greenspan puts in here. Gather your gold, stack your silver, be your own bank, grow gardens, and stack seeds. Okay, this sums up everything if you guys are really into the stacking channels on YouTube, I believe. And I think this also sums things up very well when it comes to how to get more prepared for things. Okay, so let me just hit this real fast as a comment. As you notice, it says gather gold. Okay, so it's not about buying gold. You don't actually buy gold. You convert from a fiat currency into real money, which is gold. Okay, just a second, guys. Hey, doggy, come here. Come. So you convert it over to gold. Okay, so that's kind of the gathering the gold, the whole gold thing. All right. The other thing you do is you stack silver. Okay, with silver, you do the same thing. You're also going to convert fiat money into silver, which has also been used as money for many, many years, and for centuries, and technically millennia for both of them. And the other thing that I recommend when you're looking at gold and silver is it's really more about what your plan is, your strategy. And so we're going to get to that a little bit later on that. Be your own bank means a few different things. Okay, 1, it means that you might be holding cash in a safe or a private safe deposit box. I would not put it into a bank safe deposit box for many reasons. 1, it's not really your money. It can be used as collateral for the banks. Go read your fine print if you do have one. I really wouldn't put anything in a bank safe deposit box that you can't duplicate or replace. So you might put trust documents in there. You might put stock certificates that you could get reissued. Things along those lines might be okay to put in there, but be careful. Okay, go read your fine print. The other way you can be your own bank is you can basically, instead of getting the loan somewhere else, you can loan yourself money. Okay, there are ways to do that. 1, you can take your gold and silver, you can put it into a bank that allows you to borrow against it. And technically you're being your own bank going that route. You do have third-party risk with that, so be aware of that. Some places will even give you a yield on it. So I do have some money with gold backs that are yielding about 2%. It's not very much money. It's not even 1/100% of what I have. So it's more of an experiment to test it out, understand how it works before I really bring it to you guys. I just haven't had time to really share that as an option. But it's something I wouldn't go and put a ton of money into, but it can be part of your strategy. Another way you can be your own bank too is a lot of people do what's called life banking, or they'll do insurance policies, life insurance policies, and overfund them, whole life and policies, and then they'll go and borrow money and then use the life insurance policy when they pass to pay off the loan, or they'll pay the loan back. So there's things like that that you guys can do. Growing gardens and stacking seeds is really important, because if you don't know how to use a garden or grow one, then the seeds aren't going to be very helpful for you. And we may get to a time that either it becomes so expensive to get fresh food, or the fresh food you get, like for us here in Southern California, by the time I go to Costco and get like organic strawberries or bananas, I've got like 3 days before molds on them. Okay. And I really don't like the dirty dozen, if you guys know what that means. Strawberries have a lot of chemicals on them. So if you can get organic, is a lot better. And even there, you need to wash them in different ways. It's important to know how to make your own food and grow it. And it's important to know how to can and do other things like that if you're going to be, if you want to live and you get into a crazy situation. Hopefully we never get there, but you may end up losing a job. You may end up getting to a point where you can't get the good, fresh stuff you want. And we may get to a point where it's just super important for you to have it. Come here, bud. And I've got the doggy too, so we may have to throw a little bit of bones here and there. Okay, you got to bring it to me. Come here. Bring it to me. So you may see him running in the background a little bit. All right, who else do we've got in here? So Wounded Warrior Project, we talked about that, guys. That's next week. So next Sunday at 2 o'clock Pacific, we will be doing that. And there's a lot of things that we're going to do for that. Let me just get these out real fast. So there's the Wounded Warriors support for 2026. I last weekend was on Coronado Island and ran into the CEO of the company that does these. Pretty much all the challenge coins for any of the military. And they made this one too for the Wounded Warrior Project. And I'm hoping we'll be able to get a bunch of those, maybe not those specifically, but different challenge coins sent to us that we'll put into the auction. And the auction's a good way to raise money for soldiers that have come home with issues, and their families as well. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Quick question. So this is Alaska girl Claudine. I am a daughter of the American Revolution. So proud to be in this country. All right, that's not really a question, but I like it. It's more of a statement. I think it's awesome. I've got 20 ancestors that came off of the Mayflower. So I think I'm pretty American, or at least I have some ancestors that were very American that started things before we had colonies. I've also got some Native American ancestors as well. And, I haven't done all of my history to see exactly who was in the Revolutionary War, but I know that some of them were in the Civil War as well. This is a great country, guys. And for anybody that does not think it's a good country, especially the younger ones, send them abroad a little bit if you can. They will start to respect it quite a bit. One of my daughters right now is in Paris, and she's having a Paris experience where people aren't very nice. And they're not very cordial to them, especially people that don't speak French fluently. She's learning some of that. She's out there for a study abroad. And it's got a heat wave. They're at 100 degrees with about 100% humidity, 0 air conditioning. Now, I doubt it's 100 degrees with 100% humidity exactly, because that's usually pretty dangerous. But it's super hot for what she's used to. And so she's now being more grateful in the home we have here, air conditioning, all that kind of stuff. So thank you for that comment, though. I don't know where we're moving to yet. When we start to figure that out, I'll let you guys know, but it could be down the street here. It could be on the other side of the country. We're moving for different reasons. One, we don't need a big house anymore. I'd rather put my money to work in other ways. 2, if we move out of state, we can save quite a bit of money on income tax. And depending on where we go, any of the states we'd be looking at, we'd probably be saving anywhere from about 20 to 30% in our daily expenses. That's our mascot over here, squeaking his pizza. All right, buddy. He's got a pizza. He likes this thing, and it's getting kind of gross, but he does like that. All right, let's see what else you guys have in here. Okay, so this is interesting. So Silver Sleuth 007. I'm retired and close to draw down on an investment stage of life. Okay, so guys, look, I'm not a financial planner. Nothing I put in here is financial advice. You guys do need to seek your advice from people that do this on a regular basis. But also try to find someone that understands precious metals if you've got a stack, because a lot of them can't make money from that. So either they've got a conflict of interest, or they just don't understand where it fits into a portfolio. And I know a lot of people tell me all the time when I have different people on here that own bullion companies, which I do have a few of those people on frequently, that there's always a conflict of interest because that's what they do and they sell. Yeah, duh. Okay, there's always conflicts of interest with anything we do. I doubt there's a single one of you that works for free forever and just got some big trust fund. I mean, maybe there's a few of you out there where you've never had to work a day in your life and everything was handed to you. But for the most part, you have to work a job. And you usually probably want your company or that you own or the company you work for to do well. And just about everybody is always a salesperson that's out there. So yes, keep that in mind with anybody that comes on as a guest, anytime they're sharing what their thing is. It's not that everybody's completely self-centered on stuff, but just a second there. But you gotta understand biases. Okay, there's always going to be some bias into things and what's going to happen with stuff. So as you see that, just be aware of those things. Okay. One of the things I want to put out here, though, when you're talking about investment stages of life and you're starting to draw down, my goal is to never draw down on investments when I get to retirement. Now, you can't control that all the time. Okay. But I hope I can. It's my goal. My goal is to get to the point where I don't draw down anything. I'm living off interest that's coming off of real estate, stocks, and potentially from some precious metals. Okay. But for the most part, my precious metals are really going to be a firm foundation. I may borrow against them from time to time, a small portion of it to be able to buy real estate when I see the opportunity being there, and then fixing the real estate, refinancing it, paying off the loan. Okay, I never want to have a bunch of loans against my metals for a long period of time. Right now, I do not currently do that, and I would be very cautious in doing that unless you have enough and you understand the strategies behind that. That'll be something that we'll probably put some courses together on in the future and help you guys understand that. It's probably not something I'll ever put out on public for YouTube. It's just too dangerous for the average person to go after. Most people are going to screw these things up and then they end up losing their assets. Okay. So you got to be careful with that. But my goal is to not draw down. I've got 15 years to build up left before I get to retirement age to where I can start taking Social Security. I don't think Social Security is going to be here in 5 or 10 years from now, unless the government goes and completely funds it, which would also be very inflationary because they're going to have to go print like $1 trillion to do it, maybe more. So we'll see what happens with that. But my goal is to not draw down. Now, if you're drawing down, that's either part of the strategy you've put in place, okay, which there's nothing wrong with that, except that depending on how that drawdown comes through, you may just have less assets to pass on to your family. Okay, so that's not the end of the world. It's how a lot of people do things. It's one reason I don't put money in a 401k. It's one reason I don't do a lot of IRAs. I know a lot of you guys are doing Roth IRAs. A lot of you are doing regular IRAs. I'd rather put my money into other things to where I'm not going to be forced to draw down and have to pull money out of that. I have to do different kinds of tax strategies when I'm doing that because you're going to get hit with that. But I really don't like having money being stuck in an account where I don't have control over it and I don't hold it and I don't have the asset or the title or the deed in my hands. So that's me. If you guys are more interested in that kind of stuff, send me an email, let me know. And if we have enough people interested in it, we'll do some more courses on that, or classes, or whatever we end up doing here. Maybe we'll put a section on the website for you guys. Most people, though, do have a lot of their money in the stock market. A lot of you probably do. To me, that's super risky. I don't do that personally. I'm not faulting you guys for doing it. If you're W-2, that's kind of the way the system's set up. That's what they've pushed us into. For the most part, it's not the end of the world. It's a strategy. Okay. I'm not saying it's horribly bad either. It's just part of the strategy. You're going to have to draw down on parts of that, right? And so the important thing when you're looking at that is you need to understand that the market goes in cycles. And if you're having to draw down in times when the market is crashing or way down, you've got to be aware that that's going to affect how much money you have coming in to be able to support yourself. So plan accordingly. Either offset that with other assets that are asymmetrical, meaning they will go up when the stock market goes down. You might be able to offset that also by living with family for a while. Maybe you sell a home that you're in, or you reduce the cost of renting, things along those lines. So there are things you can do. There's nothing wrong with the drawdown, but it can be tricky at certain times. Okay, if you're at the top of a market, it's a great time to be doing it. If you're at the bottom of the market, it can be very scary. If it's 2009, 2010, and the stock market's just gone down, it can be hard. You've got to kind of figure that out. But I feel for everybody on that. When you guys get to a point where you're in that retirement stage, that's where I do recommend talking to a financial planner, making sure they understand where precious metals fits into your strategy and understand how it fits into theirs. And the reason that's important is you need to be able to strategically understand how long your money is going to last. And you got to look at that in different situations. What happens today if the stock market goes down by 50% over the next 5 or 10 years, and it takes 20 years to recover to where it is today? Can you survive that? Is that going to be an issue for you? It's better to at least plan for it a little bit, and then go from there. I wouldn't freak out over it. I wouldn't have sleepless nights over anything like that. But there are things you can do to mitigate risks. Anyway, I won't get into all those different tools, but there are things you can do to try to fix that up a little bit. All right, let me see what else you guys have in here. All right. So Michael Porter's on here just saying hi. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you. At StackingSurfer, are you in California? I'm in California. Yeah, this is my house. This is my family room. So back behind me here, there's a picture here. And this has to do with, this is a cool picture I got my wife. It's Jesus, and he's going to go get the one sheep that went astray, right? So you got that in the background there. It's kind of a cool one because it's not over the top. It's kind of subtle, which is what I try to do with my channel. I try not to be overly religious on here, guys. It is Sunday, so I'll point this out over here. But I do think it's important to also have faith into your mix of things, okay? So you may have a different religion, you may have a different belief, a different faith. I think the key is to find something that's working for you guys right now. And as always, I look at good, better, and best, okay? Always improving, always trying to understand things better. All right, let's see what else you got in here. Yes, health is a big thing, and mine just is not as good as it could be. I did go surfing twice last week and taught a coworker from Turkey how to surf, and now my shoulder is completely destroyed. I can't even lift a backpack with it. So I can feel something completely crunching inside, which I'm not too excited about. But that's what happens with health. And I've got fatigue issues, guys, too. So it's a miracle I can even do a channel and put things out there. But do keep your health good. That's going to be one of the most important things. All right. The golden question, if you're not buying on the way down, when are you buying? That's a fantastic time to add. Okay, so I'm gonna put a few things out. I buy when I have the money to buy, okay? Because I'm not buying. What I'm doing is converting over. All right, I got a message from OC, just a second here. He's ready for the link. Okay, I'll get that to you in just a second. So the key for me is I don't buy gold and silver. I convert my money, my cash, over to real money, gold and silver. I'm not too worried about the price that I do that out, and I'm not too worried about if I need to go back from gold and silver into fiat. I'm not too worried about the price. Okay, obviously, I want the whole thing to work out to where I have a lower conversion cost and a lower conversion cost on the other side of it. But I do it when I've got the extra money. So this is something that you'll see in a lot of the world out there is a lot of people don't trust their currencies, trust their governments. They don't want to hold cash in their currency in the bank. They want to hold gold. So a lot of people I know from India, for example, they buy everything by the gram. They don't get into collectibles. They just go for straight 24 karat gold. That's what they're looking for. And when they have an extra couple $1,000 laying around, they go and buy grams of gold. Okay. And they put that away. It's about the ounces and converting if that's why you're doing this. Okay. If you're a stacker and you're concerned about getting your money out of the system and being able to control it and holding something of value, it really doesn't matter what the price is. It's about converting things over. So when you get into a situation like that, it's more about the ounces, right? You can make things back up on the gold to silver ratio. Okay. So if it feels like you've overspent, or maybe you bought at the top, you can buy again when you've got more money and it happens to be lower. Okay. If you're really worried about overpaying, spread it out, dollar cost average it, do it every week, do it every 2 weeks, do it every month. For me, I get a lump sum once a year. Maybe sometimes I get a lump sum twice a year. And I have to make the decision, do I spread that out over 12 months? Do I buy it today? Do I buy it in a few weeks from now? When do I go about doing that? So I look for inflection points. I look to see when, gold and silver is oversold. I look to see when everybody thinks the gold and silver is the worst investment to put your money into. Okay, these are good signs that it's a good time to buy. I look when people are giving up on it, when people are leaving social media not to talk about it anymore. We're having all of those things happening right now, by the way. And so I had money last year before the market really started exploding. Once we started to get to about $42 or so last year is where I had some money come in. And so I could see that things were starting to go up. I started to buy as quickly as I could. And it still took me all the way from $42 until we got to $68 to kind of place my funds where they're at. Some of those are going to be a little bit underwater to a degree, but very, very little bit of it. Most of it's still okay now, right? And even if we go down to 55, majority of what I have is still going to be way below that because a lot of it was purchased at around 30 or lower on silver. And for gold, it was purchased, let's say, below $2,500. So it all depends on when you get in and what you do. But yes, this is true. The best times to be buying are the times when people don't want it and they're trying to sell it. Okay. The best times to be selling is when everybody's buying. Okay. You've got to kind of do the opposite thing if you want to play that. It's very, very hard psychologically because when those things are happening, it's really hard to make that decision. Okay. I'm going to sell at 120 on silver. Okay. And then what gets even harder is when you go to a coin shop and they say, well, yeah, it might be selling at 120 for the spot price, but I'm only going to give you 105 for it. And you're like, wait a second, why are you doing that? Why are you so far behind? Well, guess what? 105 is better than it's selling for right now. So if you would have done some of that, you would have felt pretty good about it. So that's the advice I'll give you there. Okay, let me see if I can send this over to OC Stacker real quick so we can bring him in here because I want to have him share with you guys what we've got set up for the Wounded Warrior project. So let me just email it to him because he doesn't know how to do it from the screen here, which is okay. So I gotta send it to him. It's gonna take me a second. Okay, if you guys have some questions in there, try to put them in. I'll do my best to try to catch them. But I'm gonna move forward here because these are way in the past now. That was like at 6:40. We're now at 7:11. So we're gonna go to what's more current now here. Okay, I'll grab a couple on the way. So yes, this is good. Rotate. One of the things I love doing when I had a basement, can't do those in California, but if you have a basement, you can buy these big racks that you can put canned food on, or you can get like the big number 8 cans that have freeze-dried food in them and stuff. You can rotate them. Okay. You can also create a shelf system that you can go to the back with a little bit of a space, and then you can have things like shampoo and toilet paper and whatever else you consume on a regular basis that you can push forward. I don't think it would hurt anybody if you have the money to do this. So I wouldn't finance this with a loan, but if you have the money to do it, having a year supply of everything you consume that you continue to use, and as you use it, replace it in the back. And so nothing goes past a year, which there's not an expiration date that anybody really puts on that's less than a year. And most of those are just advisable. Majority of them, it's just, best quality, not really, it's going to expire and be bad. Things like dairy, though, would be the exception of that, and eggs. But anyway, you can set all of that up, and then you don't have to worry about stuff. You've got a year supply of it. I mean, heck, you could do a 2-year supply if you had enough space for it and you have the money for it. All right, let me see what else you guys have in here. So OC, I've sent that to you. You should have it in your email now. Okay. People in France have no idea what it's like to live in Houston. Put it that way. Yes, a lot of people don't use AC. However, I will say if you're living at 100% humidity and 100 degrees outside, it can be pretty darn right miserable for a lot of people. And Americans care more about comfort and entertainment than they do about anything else in the world for the most part. And if you don't believe that, then get rid of your AC and get rid of your TV and all your social media and all that stuff, and see how things go. And if you can do that, then congratulations, you're in a better shape than most of the country. Yes, it is more Paris than it is France in general, but yeah, Paris can be pretty tough. All right, let's see what else you guys in here. They'll most likely print more money. If anybody says, hey, we're just going to get rid of Social Security, they're going to be strung up, kind of a thing, right? You're not going to survive that very far. So it's going to get bad. So 67 is a great year. You've got many years ahead of you. So, I think the key is with the retirement stuff is just get your strategy in place so that you're feeling comfortable about, how much you're going to have, and you don't run out of things too early. The other key is when you're still, I would say, when you're still younger than 80, okay, and probably more so even when you're younger than 70 is the time you're most likely going to be doing most of your traveling. As you get older, a lot of times you want to spend more time with the grandkids. You really don't want to be doing a ton of traveling. And so unless you're like my in-laws, they still want to travel at 84. I don't get it. They go to Europe. I think that's a little bit crazy. I don't think I'll be doing that stuff. All right, we're going to bring OC up here real quick. All right, OC Stacker, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So what do you got here on the table? I want to show everybody. So first off, the Wounded Warrior Project is going to be on MLZB's channel, I believe. And that's next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you guys want to find those links, mods, maybe Elle, if you could do this, I'll try to see if I can find it here in a minute too. But if you go and search YouTube for Wounded Warrior Project auction, it should bring up 3 different live streams that you can, what's it called? Get a reminder for, basically. I forget the term on there for YouTube. But you can mark each of those 3, and it'll say day 1, day 2, and day 3. We're going to be on day 3. We've got a lot of great stuff. Some of it most of it we have in hand. Some of it's still being delivered. But I wanted to show that to you guys because it's one of the best kept secrets. Is if you come to the Wounded Warrior Project, you have the ability to support a good cause. You've got the ability to get a to help a 501c3, so you get a tax deduction receipt. You got to talk to your CPA, or at least look over the tax laws to understand whether you can use that or not as a deduction. And then 3, whatever you're bidding on ends up getting sent to you. So you have the ability to then keep that, or you have the ability to send that to someone else, gift it to someone else. There's some great things that are there. So yeah, hopefully you guys find those links. I'm going to make you go big here, OC Stacker. If you want to share with us what's on the table. I pressed the wrong one. There we go.
There you go.
Can you rotate it? Because right now it's tall, so we're not seeing very much of your screen.
Well, you're lucky you got me where I'm at.
Okay. Then we'll leave it like this because it won't make any difference. Okay. There you go.
I don't know how to rotate it. It took me like 5 minutes to figure out the front camera, back camera. So if I go hunting for it, I might disconnect. So we'll leave it where it's at. Real quick, okay. The Wounded Warrior project, the host is going to be Cash Money. So if you type in Cash Money and go there, I've already dropped the link like 3 or 4 times. L, if you want to copy and paste it. That's day 3 I dropped. So that's when you and I will be on at 2 p.m. So I'm going to move the camera here. I'm going to try and be slow so I don't get everybody dizzy.
Uh-oh, we lost the camera.
Sorry about that. Getting the phone calls. I'm talking to you. Let me turn that off real quick. Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oop, now I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Uh-oh.
All right.
I can't hear you.
Now, for everybody after this, I'm going to talk to you about my strategy of what I'm doing in gold and silver. Okay, I know some of you are waiting for that. I think we got up to about 140, 150 people on here, and then we went down to 100. We're going to show you the auction stuff first, and then I want to go into a little bit of strategy, what I'm doing and why, to help give you guys some ideas there. I did just start a couple comments, so we'll get to Michael Porter's one too here on is it now a good time to be buying mining stocks? So we'll touch on that as well.
You gotta be kidding me.
If you guys have a few more questions, go ahead and throw those into the chat. I'll try to find those here right now so we can come back to them.
Row.
Go see. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? All right, I'm going to mute him for a second. Oh, I don't know. It's just not working. Give me a minute, guys. All right, we're going to come back to him in a minute. Hopefully he can figure out how to do that. Let me just message him real fast. All right, let's see if you can. I'm going to kick him out. Hopefully he'll come back in. Okay. Oh, now we're seeing the top of his garage. Okay, he'll come back in a second here. So let's see. Okay, OC, can you hear us? Or hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Hang on. I'm gonna try. Hang on. I'm at my camera thing. Let me see if I can figure out.
No, don't press anything. Just do this. Yeah, we've already lost 50 people while you were figuring out the camera.
Sorry. There you go.
It's okay.
Is that better?
It's okay. Yeah, I'd rather show it to the people that are on here and have them do that versus people just jumping in and out because they're not sure what's going on. So,
do you want to make me full screen, or is that going to matter?
This is full screen. Yeah.
No, just me, because I made it wide.
Yeah, you're not wide.
Okay, I tried.
It's okay. I want to see if I can.
There we go.
You can zoom in too, but maybe you shouldn't try it. We'll keep it like this, just so that we don't lose the feed.
So my camera's moving opposite. So sorry, guys. There's no way for me to do this with my tablet. So I had to grab my
we will
phone
have. Everything's going to be set up for the auction, so you'll be able to see stuff closer, guys. We'll have the cameras and everything going. But what I want to show you here is we've got a lot of items that we're going to be auctioning off, okay? So there's a couple things I want to point out to you guys. Okay, first off, good cause, great way to get silver, and most of you should be able to get a tax write-off off of this. But just like I said, I can't give you financial advice. I also cannot give you tax advice. But talk to your CPA. If you don't have a CPA, do some AI or Google searches to better understand if you can use that. So the one thing I want to, if you could pull back a little bit, OC, one of the things I want to show you guys is we're going to have a lot of items that are 1 ounces of silver. Okay. So, for a lot of people, this is going to be an opportunity for you guys to do some support without having this run up to huge astronomical numbers. A handful of these are copper. So if you stop there for a second, you can see the little foxes at the top. Those are like 10 ounces of copper. We've got another 10-ounce copper bar there, I think. And then we've got this Michelangelo and God here. Adam and God, I believe, from the Sistine Chapel.
That's actually called the creation of Adam.
Creation of Adam. And I think it's the Sistine Chapel, and I think it was Michelangelo that painted it. But there's 2 of them there. So there's like 4 ounces of copper that's there. So some of the stuff is copper.
The other ones
we got fun things like that. Now, these are going to be on a spreadsheet, so you guys can go see the spreadsheet ahead of time, decide if there's something you want to bid on here. There's going to be 3 days of this. We're only doing an hour of it for the Stacking Surfer channel. So there's going to be a lot of other items that you guys would have an opportunity to go and pick up as well, in addition to what you see here.
So this lot right here, I got every metal there. I got platinum, gold, silver, and copper.
There you go. And then if you go over to the right, if you go over to the right here, we've got under that one there, we've got Drew Brophy's signed surfboard coin. So we've got that. And then we've got a print that's coming too. It's going to be on canvas of that design, which will be pretty cool. We've got some gold backs. We've got gold foil notes. There's a lot of silver that's in here. We've got the challenge coin that's there too. Hopefully we'll be getting a bunch of challenge coins to do for giveaways, as well as to add them into some of the bids here. This will be one of the only ways you guys can get poker chips if you have interest in that. Most of the poker chips are almost gone, so there's not going to be a lot of those left. And I've got some other exclusive stickers just for the auction that'll be coming, hopefully this week. So I can't show them to you guys yet, but I've only printed a couple of those, like 10 of 2 different kinds of new stickers that are coming out.
You want me to go to the other table?
Yeah, go to the other table real quick. And then we've got tangible investments, guys. If you've seen a couple of the videos I've done with them, they also made a pretty big donation. So we're going to be doing some lots with them as well.
Yeah, the next table is all them. And just out of curiosity, if people would be interested in jewelry like this is all sterling. This one has an emerald on it, but it has 18 karat gold on the side. If that's something you guys might be interested in for future, I have that sitting here. Just curious. You can see my feet.
Yeah, so it's not too important to get every piece in there. I think it's more just to kind of help people see what we've got. You can't see it well enough to know what it is anyway. So we've got some are going to be 40% silver. We've got a lot of 90% silver, and then I think we have quite a few proof sets too. So all those Benjamins will be 90% there. Actually, those might be proofs too, but
these are almost 7 ounces of bronze. We got 10 of these.
So if you're looking for bronze, we've got bronze for you guys too. So most of this came from people donating. It's other people in the community that are donating. This is from a bullion dealer here in Laguna Beach that the owner, Silvano or Sil, he's the co-founder of PCGS. So I've done a few videos with them. They donated, I think, pretty much everything that's on this table here. And so there's some really cool pieces here that you guys can pick up. And there's some of it I've donated. Some of it is being donated by OC Stacker. When we do the auction, anybody that's made a donation, we're going to be calling out who that is. We'll be sharing their channel so that you guys can, give them a big thank you, and also know where you're getting the stuff from. And then everything will be getting shipped out after that. This is like a 2 ounce United States Air Force.
2.5.
2.5 silver coin.
Yeah.
So that one's
Beautiful.
kind of cool.
This is a 1986 FIFA World Cup that's still in the container that was never opened. That's 2 ounces of silver as well.
So there you go. You got that. And oh yeah, they threw that. Good. I was wondering if they're going to throw that one in. That has like a little bit of gold inside the silver, which is kind of cool. And then you've got a bunch of nickels. If someone wants a book of nickels over here. So we're going to put a bunch of.
It's showing up backwards.
Yeah, it's okay. I think that's good enough.
Yeah.
So
and this is all Buffalo nickels.
Yeah, Buffalo nickels. If someone's looking for a Buffalo nickel set. So anyway, these are cool items. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff like this. You know, Yankees. I think Yankee Stacking's doing it again this year. I don't know. Maybe Silver Dragons as well. So you know, a lot of times they'll end up having pours that they bring to the table. They may have some other cool coins that they've put together. It's a way for you guys to support Wounded Warriors. It's also a way for you to support the stacking channels. And then hopefully it's a way for you guys to grab some additional silver, you know, at a pretty good price. But then you've also got the write-off that can come from that. Let me see. I'm just going to throw this up here real quick from Vote for Pedro. So we're working with him. He does a lot of work with Wounded Warrior Project too. The only form of payment at the benefits is direct donations to the Wounded Warrior Project. We provide a special link through the Blue Angels, and they match our donations. And then Wounded Warrior takes PayPal or credit cards. So you can do that through your business. You can also do that through, you know, your personal stuff too. And then let's see. Okay, so I wanted to throw this up there too. So after adding some recent donations, the total for this community has raised for the Wounded Warrior Project is now over $551,000. So Pedro, is that over this year or is that over like the last 5 years? I don't know how many years that took to get to 551K. Just curious, but that's quite the number, guys. To be able to raise that kind of money is pretty substantial. All right, so I'm gonna hide that for a minute here. So OC, while I got you on here, I want to talk about a few things on gold and silver, because I know some people are waiting for that, and then we'll probably call it quits from there. I've got a lot of stuff I needed to get done today, and I've just barely got back to the house since leaving at about 9 about 10 this morning. So
no problem.
All right, so here's where I want to kind of start things a little bit too. From Michael Porter, he asks, StackingSurfer, is it a good time to buy back into the mining stocks now, or should we wait till the end of the summer to do it? So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Number one, I know some of you play the futures market. Some of you are into options, okay? Couple pieces of advice I'm going to just throw out there. If you're playing the futures market, make sure you've got extra cash on hand so that if the CME raises the amount of money that you need to put up to hold those options, that you can hold them, okay? And make sure that you're going out far enough that you can cover things, and make sure you're watching it on a regular basis. That's not stacking. Just to make that very clear, if you're playing the futures market, you're not stacking. You're, for the most part, probably hedging against maybe selling some of your metals at this price. Otherwise, you're trying to make a bunch of money off gold and silver, which I don't highly recommend because I think they're just too volatile right now. This is just not a great time where it's not very stable at the moment. We could still see silver go down into the 40s. Okay, I've been saying this for months now, and I was even saying it last year. We could go into $48. We could go below the 45-year cup and handle, and if we do, guys, and we close on a monthly below that, we've got to redo the entire cup and handle again. Now, how is that done? It's by forming another handle on top of a little handle on top of the previous handle. And that can take another 6 months to a year for us to break out again. So let's hope that doesn't happen if your goal is to have the price go up. Now, if your goal is to have the price go down, I can't guarantee it's going to go lower. So you got to watch out for that. But futures, I'd be very, very careful doing that. You know, you are playing the speculative game with that. Okay. So, and you're essentially using leverage because you probably are not planning on buying those contracts with cash when they close. Okay. You're probably looking to flip it and make some money on it. Be careful doing that. I think there's much safer ways to make extra money. Short term, I'd focus on building a business personally than trying to play the market that way. Now, if you're a day trader and you're trying to play, you know, those things, well, then you probably know a lot more about all that than I do, because right now I don't have the time to day trade. I have done it in the past. I did really well with it. I doubled my retirement account at one point, and then I cashed it out and I bought gold and silver with it. So that's how I kind of roll with things. Now, the other thing I'll throw out to you guys is if you're doing options, be very careful with that as well. Okay. Do not leverage yourself. Okay. So if you're going to do options, you know, calls and puts, only do it in a way that you are able to lose the money that you're putting down, and that it's not going to hurt you financially, and that you can walk away from it. And just be careful with that. Okay. A lot of people can get themselves into a lot of trouble with that, and you get yourself upside down very quickly. A lot of the bigger bullion dealers do this to be able to offset when they're selling their metals, as well as when they're buying metals. And so like Miles Franklin will do it. I think SD Bullion may do it too. And maybe some of the other big ones. I would assume APMEX does. I don't know for sure, but a lot of these big places, most likely when they're buying a big lot of metals that they're bringing in, they'll hedge it in the opposite direction. So they may buy some shorts just in case the price goes down. It covers them. It's like an insurance policy. So make sure you know how you're using that and why you're doing it. Now, mining stocks. Mining stocks are another way for you to be involved in the future gains of gold and silver. Mining stocks are also highly volatile as well. Okay, you don't own the actual metal. You own interest into the stock. Those are still companies. They can still go bankrupt. They can still, you know, someone could short their stock heavily and you could lose a lot of money from it too. So also with mining stocks, I tend to not put a very large percentage of my precious metals portfolio into mining stocks. I put a small percent into there. The most I've ever done is 0.5%. I've never gone higher than that. And to me, that was a lot of money. And so I just decided that's the most I'm going to go with it. You know, could I go up to 5% of it? I guess I could, but I'd rather hold the physical for it. Now, on the other side, if you're wanting to play the gold to silver ratio, one way you can play it is with mining stocks. Okay, if you're buying strictly silver or gold ones, you can also do that by putting it in, buying shares into a vault like One Gold, Glint, or Kinesis. There's also other services you can do it. You could also buy into the ETFs. Those are, you have much lower fees if you're wanting to go back and forth. But as far as buying the mining stocks right now, it all depends on where you think gold and silver is going to go. I can't tell you right now, Michael, if we're going to go down to 48 on silver and if we're going to go down to say $3,000 on gold. It's not impossible for us to do it. It doesn't really look like it would go much lower than that if you look at the charts. And from the people that I tend to follow, no one's calling for it to go below that, but they are saying it could get to 3,700 on gold, and we could get down to 48 to 52 on silver. So, you know, just be aware of that. We're quite a bit lower than the 120, 121 or so on silver, and the $5,600 on gold, where it touched that intraday. That now is a lower time to buy. So it depends on what your horizon is. It depends on how long you're going to hold it. And you've got to look at those things when you're making a decision on, do I buy now or do I hold? I can't tell you because I don't have a crystal ball to be able to tell you on that. What I can tell you, though, is when you're doing mining stocks, it's not something I recommend dollar cost averaging into. It's something I recommend following other experts that are really into the trading sides, North Star, Bad Chart guys. And maybe we can bring up a chart in a minute here, but I would look for when they recommend it's a entry point. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you can't buy it when it's not an entry point. It just means that when they show you an entry point, that's where you have the least amount of risk in making a purchase for what could happen in the future down the road. So that's kind of where I would throw that in there. Okay. So I'm going to take that off. I don't know if we had any more other questions that came up in here. We probably have a few more in here. Okay, so let me, I want to ask you, OC, are you buying silver? Are you buying gold? Are you selling? That reflects too much. Are you freaked out? Do you think it's going a lot lower? Do you think it's going higher?
I think with the mess that happened over the weekend, I believe that we are going to see it either flatten or go down a bit. If a deal presents itself and it feels right, I'm going to continue to buy it like I always do. If I stop doing coins and whatnot, then I'll just move over to jewelry, and I'm always buying jewelry and flipping that. So I'm a little bit more cautious.
Why do you flip stuff?
So I can stack more gold and silver, brother. That's my. I manage the metals
so you're
part
buying.
of my portfolio.
So you are buying then?
Oh yeah. I don't think I ever really stopped. I might slow down a little bit when it drops. $36, $37 on a Thursday, on a Friday back in January. I wasn't happy about that, but you just put it away and wait for it to come back, and I just use other funds to keep going.
So I think that's the key, guys, is like everybody's got a different situation that's out there. I've got a guy recently that he's an analyst that I saw him on an interview, and I've been kind of going back and forth talking to him on X. He doesn't like a lot of the people I bring on the channel that are bullying people or people that have services they sell in this space. However, he really can't talk because he also sells a newsletter. So he also has a conflict of interest. He wants to sell the newsletter because he feels that his way is the better way. So, like I said, you guys have to read in between the lines. And when someone, you can have someone that goes negative on people, and then you got to find out how they make their money. And if you find out they make their money by being negative on that person, their credibility also goes out the window. So I'm not questioning this guy's credibility. I'm just saying, people have their opinions of things. When I look at this stuff, guys, you're going to hear a lot of bullish sentiment from a lot of people that have a higher percentage of wealth in precious metals. Okay. You're going to hear the same thing from people about crypto that have a lot of crypto, people that have a lot of stocks, people that have a lot of real estate. Okay. Everything goes in cycles. You're going to have good times where your asset is outperforming a lot of other assets, and you're going to have other times where it's not doing that and it reverses down. Right now we're still at a great place, guys. I mean, I was so excited to think that we might have gold at $4,000. Let me see where it is today right now. I've just been super busy today. So right now we're at $4,062 an ounce of gold, and we're $58.60 for silver. Okay. If you go back to the beginning of 2025, those are great numbers. Those are numbers that, I would love to be able to see if I have accumulated a good amount of what I wanted to accumulate, right? If I'm pretty close to my goals. If I'm far away from my goals, these numbers are too high. I wish they would go down drastically. Okay. It just becomes harder to hit goals when the price jumps up significantly and quickly. So, if you went back a year and a half from now in the past and you had these numbers, you'd be ecstatic for the most part. So anybody that's saying that they're depressed about these numbers, I think you've got to rethink the process here a little bit on, what does good look like? Now, if you're someone that FOMO'd and you went and bought a bunch of metals above $50 an ounce, and you were buying a lot, like percentage wise of your overall stack, say 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, maybe you even bought at the very top 120. Use this opportunity as a way to remind you of what FOMO is, which is fear of missing out. Anytime you feel like I need to hurry and do something because I'm going to miss it, you've got to sleep on it, in my opinion, at least a day. And then you've got to talk to some of your other stacking friends and say, here's what I'm thinking of doing. Is it a good time to buy stuff right now? Am I being smart about this? So Michael Porter's asking that on the channel here, right? Is it a good time to buy some stocks right now? What I would recommend is I sold out of all my mining stocks. I don't have any right now. I made a good profit on them. No one followed my stuff on Slice, so you guys did not see all the things that I was doing. We're kind of not really doing that program, but that's where I put that information. For the most part, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. I need to have a little bit more liquidity for me and my family right now. So I'm not worried about the extra profits I could make from a mining stock right now. It's just not something that's on my mind at the moment. But it's always good to ask for other advice from people and to get an opinion of that. OC Stacker, do you have any mining stocks?
I do not.
Have you ever bought any or held any mining stocks?
Nope.
Do you own stocks in the stock market?
I do, but I have a financial plan that manages it. I don't touch it.
How does your financial planner feel about mining stocks?
He never brought him up, and I never pushed him on it because I control.
He's probably not a fan if you don't have any. So
yeah, I'm. It's different for me. I'm on Social Security now. I'm older. It's I don't need to take the big risk. I've already been there, done that, and we're comfortable where we're at. So we're in safe havens, so to speak, or safe stocks that have a very modest growth, and we're okay with that. So,
and I think that's the key, guys. So majority of your financial planners are not your financial advisors. Okay, that's your stockbrokers. Majority of those guys or gals are not going to be putting you in mining stocks. They're going to see that as way too volatile, and they are pretty volatile. They're probably not going to put you in those. They're probably also not going to put you into physical gold and silver. They can't make money from it. They're more likely to put you into gold and silver ETFs, and more likely to tell you to stay away from silver. It's a horrible investment, which in a lot of ways it has been a horrible investment. It's been way more volatile than gold. So you got to be very careful for that. So depending on who you are when you bought, it's a horrible investment. For others, it's a great investment. They're more likely just to put you into some gold, though. So you do need to look out for that. And you got to look at your time horizon on how much time you have before you need to draw down on it or do other things with it, too. So here you go. Awaken Now 711 said, when I had a planner, he did not like mining stocks. So, one of the things that I'll tell you out there is, for me, gold is wealth insurance. And it's also, just a second, I got to find Puppy. Okay, he's over there. He's so quiet. For me, gold is wealth insurance, and it's also a form of savings. And so I like that it's physical. I like that it takes an extra step to move it. I'm much less likely to go spend it on something dumb or to use too much of it versus just cash in the bank. Okay. Silver for me is a SHTF with 90% silver. And then, my pure silver for the most part is to play the gold to silver ratio. And it's also speculation. Okay. But that's really where that ratio kind of comes into play. And the other part of it is it's fun. You have more ability to collect silver in fun coins like the one you see on the screen here than in gold. Gold just gets super pricey to be collecting a bunch of 1 ounce coins versus silver. So you've got that out there too. All right. So OC, a couple of questions I want to ask you along the lines on this too. Do you have a number for gold and silver for backing up the truck? Or is that something you don't do? You just dollar cost average or, when you have money from flipping jewelry and stuff?
That's kind of a loaded question because I approach it in multiple ways. It just depends what comes my way. So if a deal comes my way, I'm always going to buy. If I feel that it's kind of volatile like it has been for the last couple months, I go with caution, but I have an exit plan before I lay down my money. So if I'm buying gold, if I'm buying 3 ounces, 10 ounces, 20 ounces, a half ounce, it's already going somewhere. So before I do anything like that, so if how do I I'm trying to find the right way to put this.
Well,
You kind of put me on the
let me
spot.
put it this way: if silver got down to $30, would you buy more than you would normally buy? Would you try to go and find ways to buy more of it, or would you be scared and try to sell everything?
Well, here again, this when we talk about this stuff, there's always two scenarios. There's my scenario,
Yep.
which is age, and your scenario where you're still building and stacking.
Well, we're
I
talking about
don't
your
have
scenario.
to. I don't have to back the. I don't have to back the truck up anymore.
Yeah.
I've already done that. What I do now is, like I said,
let's talk your age, because I'm not your age group, so I can't relate completely to it yet because I'm not there. So for your age group in retirement, do you back up the truck? Do you worry about it? Have you already backed up the truck?
yeah, I've been
If it
back up.
gets to 30, do you just not sell and you hold and wait? What's kind of your plan, right? I mean, a lot of people on here are getting into that retirement age, and they're having to draw down on their stocks. They may be drawing down on a pension plan or Social Security. Some of them are concerned that silver price is dropping, and do they need to hurry and sell their silver before it goes to 30 or 20 or 10 or whatever the number might be? Others are thinking, well, I'll just hold it and pass it to my kids. And, so the flip side of this is what happens when it goes back up over 100. I mean, how many people sold at 100 or higher that are on here? My guess is not very many. So I'm just curious what's in your mind, what shop process, is there a number where you start to want to go take cash and buy more silver? Or are you kind of at a point where you've hit your numbers and, you really just flip things, and when you get extra money, you go and buy some silver? And is there like a number you get to where you say, hey, I'm going to sell a bunch of silver right now because I'd rather have the cash and pay debt off, or to do something else with it?
Yeah, that's. I'll be honest with you.
GSR.
How I've positioned myself. We could do a whole show on this because I am set up in multiple ways. I'm set up if they revalue gold and it goes to 5, 10,000, and silver goes to $200-300, I have a strategy for that. If it drops down to 3,000 gold and $30 silver, I also have a strategy for that. My metals were never intended to make up for my retirement. My portfolio that my wife and I built, my wife is still working. I've been retired for 5 years. We are set up to go either multiple different ways depending on the scenarios. I position myself. I've got plenty of metals. We're good to go. It was never stacked for whatever to supplement our retirement. Our retirement between her pension and both Social Securities, we are good to go. We built it so we would never have to either touch our retirement accounts or anything else, just because what we've already built, we're already good to go. So I have the luxury, and I'm truly blessed when I say this, is that I can go all kinds of ways. If it just gets stagnant, we never need it, then it's generational wealth and it goes to the kids. So, like I said, that's kind of a tough question to answer because there's lots of ways we can go. Lots of ways we can go.
Well, it is, but it's part of it is how you answer it in a short period of time, because that really shows kind of what you're thinking, right? If you're going to take longer, that means you're thinking through it. It's not what's on your mind, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I've already, like I said, I've weighed all the scenarios because we've seen what happens. I mean, look at in the course of 6 months, everybody here, listen, guess what? We went from 120 down to below 60, where we're at right now in 6 months. So how do you plan for that? Well, the simple answer is you do what I did. You just dollar cost average. You spend. Some months I can buy 3 ounces of silver. Some months I can buy 30 ounces of silver. It just depends on where it's at. You watch the marketplace. I don't watch my stocks every day. In fact, I never watched it. I put it in somebody else's hand. They've done a wonderful job. When I retired, I said, I'm taking over all the physical metals. That's my end of it. You control the other, 75, 80% of what the other portfolio is. So I'm not heavy in the metals, but I've been buying it since 1970. So other than flipping it, I've never sold any of my original stash or anything I bought for deep stack. It's all just been put away and forgotten about.
And I wasn't alive in 1970, so I've not been stacking that long.
Well, I was only 7 years old, so I'm not, I mean, I'm old, but not that old. But, you know, I learned, it's just something I felt as a kid, and it's been in my gut my whole life. I've always been drawn to it. You know, when I opened up my business and I opened my car dealership, I took gold and silver in as payment. If nobody could, you know, people were always coming to me with my hand out. I always want to help everybody. So I'd say, hey, look, do you have silver or gold? Yes, I do. I said, well, bring it by. I'll pay you a spot for it, and it'll be fair business trade. So I came to over owned the dealership for 20 years. You know, it wasn't a bad way to go. And when I got it, obviously I didn't have to go cash it or sell it to go pay the bills. The dealership was successful enough to where we didn't have to worry about that. So here again, like I said, I just count my blessings. You know, I got no reason to be upset about anything.
I think that's all good. So let me see if I can't really make this bigger, but you guys can kind of see the point here. The other point I want to make in general with this, and it's interesting because everybody has a different level of wealth. You might live in a super expensive area. You may live in an area that's not as expensive. And so each person has different needs for retirement to live a lifestyle that they feel is good. Okay. You know, someone that's a billionaire probably needs to, they might freak out if they can't have a jet, right? Probably none of us are in a position like that right now. But I wanted to pull this out here because I think it's interesting. I believe you are in the top 1% of silver stackers on the planet Earth if you have over 100 ounces of silver, okay? This is just a representation here. I know people that have 40,000 ounces of silver or more. Okay, that's a lot of silver. I don't know where in the world they put it all. If you guys have been following David Bateman on X, he bought $800 million worth of silver around, you know, $30. So I don't even know how many COMEX bars that is. I'd have to go do the math on that. Let's see if we can extrapolate that. It went into like 1 million ounces. I think it was like $800 million divided by $30. Well, that's a lot. That's like 26 million ounces. So that's a lot of silver. Okay. Very few people are going to do that. If you have 100 ounces of silver, you're doing very well compared to the world. Okay. I know other people that have maybe all of their wealth is in silver. Okay. They don't have any gold. They're putting all of it in there. And maybe they don't have a lot. Maybe they do have a lot. It's all relative, but I think it's good to kind of put things into perspective. If you've got 100 ounces of silver, you're in great shape. If you're not there yet and you have the goal of it, well, then keep going. You know, now's a good time to accumulate more than it was when it was $121 an ounce. The other thing I'll just throw out there too is, you know, whether you back up a truck or not also depends on what you have here. If you're sitting at 5,000 ounces or 10,000 ounces of silver and you're in retirement age, you may not care about backing up the truck because you have plenty of silver. Maybe you're looking at doing something else like picking up real estate or picking up some gold or platinum or something else. So, you know, it's just a way to look at it. Now, if you're way off this chart, congratulations. If you're below this chart, that's okay. I think this chart, let me zoom in on it. It starts at 50 ounces, okay? So, you know, at 50 ounces, I guess you'd be at the top 2%. You know, if you have a 1 ounce, I think you're in the top 10% of stackers. Like people just don't even have silver, okay, in the world. So, you know, I think this is something to put into perspective. You may feel like you don't have very much silver, and the reality is you probably have more than 1 ounce if you're watching this today, and you're doing better than most of the world. Most people do not have any real money. Okay, it's all paper fiat, and that goes for other countries. All right, we got a question on here from Bullion on a Budget. I'm going to remove that for a minute. Go back to this. Okay, OC Stacker, since you was around for multiple bubble bursts and crashes, what makes the scenario that we're in now different than the others in the past? So, you know, maybe I'll add to this a little bit. OC, do you think this is 2011? Do you think this is 1980? Are we about to just have it go back down to $20 or $30 and stay there for the next couple decades?
Me personally, I don't seriously see it getting down to 30. I just don't. You know, I hear the arguments, I hear what people are saying, I just don't. And the simple answer to that is nothing. Nothing is different. The key is here, folks, the answer is very simple. If you don't have to sell, don't. So when they went up, you know, we of course, just like everybody else, I enjoyed the ride going up. Wasn't happy about it going down, but that's what happens. If you watch your stocks every day, they go up and down constantly. So you're going to drive yourself crazy. So I chose not to do that. I said, okay, this is my plan. My 20%, 25% of my portfolio that I get for retirement, I pull some of that back and I bought metals for it. I bought metal. And then you just stick to your guns. I mean, I don't like to regurgitate the same thing that every other channel says, but at the end of the day, if you have a base of knowledge of what's going on in the industry, that anybody that's listening to you now and is here now and still listening to this an hour into this show, you already have the common sense. You already know what needs to be done to get to where I'm at. I started in 1970. I mean, this is 55 plus years, 56 years of doing this. It doesn't happen overnight. I didn't do it to get rich. I did it to hedge against inflation. I've known about that for most of my life. I didn't know it when I was 7 and 8 years old. Don't get me wrong. It was a hobby that I did with my dad and my uncle that brought us together. We did it as a family. I just never stopped. I said, well, okay, my uncle's doing something else. My dad's got this going on. I'm in high school. I'm in sports, and you know, of course, you didn't do this every day, but you know, 2 or 3 times a year. You know, when you're a teenager, because you're spending your money on everything: cars, girls, dates. You know, tires, gas. So you know, I just bought it. If I find myself, I was a mechanic, so if I found myself doing a brake job and I made an extra $100, my rule of thumb is I did it in thirds. A third goes to metals, a third goes to savings, and a third goes to whatever I want to do. Whether buy a house, put it away, go out on a date with my girlfriend, whatever it was. You just take a percentage of what you take in when you have your what they refer to as disposable cash. And you know, and then we did that with our girls when they got allowances or if they got good grades. We raised them on doing a third and a third and a third. They continue to this day to do that. So um, it gets down to, you know, people say, well, did you believe? I didn't know any better. My gut told me that just buy a little bit of it. Some of it went into stocks when I was an employee and I got a 401k. Obviously, a percentage of it that went up. But if I had a good month, a bonus, I did extra jobs and got raises or whatever. We lived, my wife and I, we lived modestly. I didn't have to have, you know, boats and cars and ATVs and motorhomes and two houses and a lake house and a river house and a beach. You know, we didn't aspire to that. We just wanted to be comfortable and, you know, enjoy life. And so that's what we're doing.
I think it's awesome. So, you know, one thing I'd add to that too is, you know, there's a difference between, so this analyst guy that reached out to you, still trying to understand him a little bit more on where he's coming from and stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of people that are worried about the pumpers that are trying to pump gold and silver prices out there. And, you know, some people look at it as just a commodity play. It's strictly something you own for a period of time when it's undervalued. And then when it gets overvalued, you get out of it and you get away from it. That's different than these stacking channels. If that's really your mentality and that's what you're looking at, these channels are probably a waste of your time. It's probably not the best thing for you. On the other hand, if you're worried about, or you look at it and say, hey, our money's not real, right? We call it money, but it's really just a currency, the dollar. And you want to have real assets and you want to be able to figure out how to better stack those and what versions and options you have out there, and have some cool pieces like this surfboard or art that may go in hand, then these are probably, you know, great channels for you guys. And so I think, you know, the first part is trying to understand what your desire is. If you believe that it's good to hold this for an SHTF, if you believe it's good for emergencies, you know, if you're a prepper, if you're someone that sees that, if you're a saver, if you're someone that sees that holding on to gold and silver would be beneficial for you, it doesn't matter if we have bubbles and bursts, because you just don't want your money in the fake stuff, right? That's part of what I think is important to kind of address with this too, is To me, this is why I say ounces. It's not so much about what I paid for everything. It's more about like how much have I converted over and locked in. And that's what I look at for gold. So for me, I'm not as big of a silver person. I'm more of a gold guy. I think silver is nice to have and it's good and it helps me get more gold in the long run. But my end goal is more about how many ounces of gold do I have? How much wealth am I protecting? And how is that going to come into play? I know there's people in the community that look at it and say, hey, the whole game is silver. I sold all my gold. I'm only going silver. And the reason that they're doing that is because, well, either they really like gold and they think it's going to be a way to accumulate more gold down the road, or they believe no one's going to care for gold anymore because it doesn't have the industrial use. And at some point, silver is going to become so much more valuable than gold. Well, they could be right. They could be wrong. I don't know. But for me, it's the strategy. So what is my strategy? It's about accumulating. So I'm going to continue to accumulate where I can. When I have the money to accumulate, I'm going to accumulate because I don't want to leave a bunch of money in the bank. I'd rather have it in gold. At the same time, I show my face, so I try to vault as much as I can to keep it super safe, keep it in multiple locations, different jurisdictions, which means different states. I haven't gotten to the point where I take stuff out of the country yet, but I may end up doing that where I have it vaulted in other countries as well. I guess I have done that with one gold, but there are things you guys can do. There's ways to do this. Now, as far as bubbles and bursts, let me show you guys a chart here. I just need to find it real quick to help you understand, is it different or is it similar to what we've had in the past? Let's see. One thing I do want to point out, Gold Maple mentioned this too. I don't fall anywhere on this well chart that we were showing here because he doesn't have any silver. So I think he has gold, but not any silver. And I think he tends to go with the pure 24 karat gold. And I think that's great. You guys, go with what feels right to you. Go with what, you feel comfortable with. We've got situations like this too. We could have bought, not all of us, but some of us could have bought at a younger age and put money into it, and been able to do that. All right, and then I'll show you guys the chart in a second. What about the industrial use? Yeah, so there's not a lot of gold industrial use. There's a lot of silver industrial use, but if we ever get to a point where there's huge demand for industrial use and they can't get enough silver, countries will take over silver mines. They might make it illegal to own silver and they try to, confiscate it because they need it for national security or whatever else. So, one of the things you don't want is you don't want an asset that you're holding to become so valuable that governments need it. It's better to have it kind of fly under the radar. I would like to have more people having gold and silver, but I would rather have it be below 20% of the adults doing it because you're less of a target. Once you start to get over 20%, you become much more of a target, especially if you are starting to affect the country's currency. So you got to watch out for that. All right, let me see if you guys had any other comments on here real quick. Yeah, I don't know anything about this stuff. You guys you'd have to grab it from another place, but I don't really follow the Canadian coins at all. In particular, I have maple leaves and they're 4/9 fine silver, and I have some 10-ounce bars. But I don't know what the Club of Rome map. Yeah, okay, that's going back to where basically North America is like one country financially. Look, that could happen. It may not happen. And if it does, then technically, I guess the Canadian coins would be considered sovereign coins, if that's what you're asking. Those are things that are kind of cool, but I would not build a strategy around that because we have no idea if that's going to happen and if it's going to happen in our lifetimes. All right. Okay, let me show this chart. So OC, I'm going to ask you one other quick question too. So when you look at what you're buying, as you're flipping some of your jewelry, for example, are you buying bars? Are you buying, a particular kind of silver? Are you just looking for whatever's the cheapest thing you can find out there? Do you care whether it's pure or if it's 90%?
Well, here again, that's a loaded question. So what I'm doing is, because I do this every day, or every other day or whatever when I get busy, my end goal is to end up with 24 karat uh, buffaloes. Is what the end game is for me. Those sell the quickest. There's no argument. People pay a premium on them every time, all the time. Um, doesn't beat Eagles out by a whole lot, but if it really came down to push a shove with these refineries, because I'm at the refinery every 3 to 4 weeks. So, and we always chat him up. We've become pretty close where I have his cell phone. If I have questions, like right now, if I called him with a question, he would pick up the phone and answer for me. They treat us very well. Like I said, here again, I count my blessings. We fell into these guys, and it's been an awesome thing for all of us. And the smart way, honestly, is to buy it the cheapest way you can. So this is what I do: the cheapest way I can. I go buy jewelry. I take all that money, the profit monies, then I take that when I get enough, then I go roll that into, if someone comes in and says, "Hey, OC, I need to sell some gold and I've got buffaloes and eagles." I'll take that money. If I got 20 or 30 of them to sell, I'll grab one for myself and make up the difference and put that in the stack, and then it doesn't get touched. Working capital comes back out when we go cash back out and wash it. We have a very common saying that we all use with each other. It's called wash, rinse, repeat. We don't make it complicated. I'll buy any kind of gold there is, jewelry. I mean, here, this is what I just picked up just the other day. I got a silver chain, a pre-33 that was in the bezel. I took the bezel out. Gold dropped when I got it. I said, okay, well, it's going to sit here on my desk. This is my table I use when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Or I have friends who had deaths in the family and they went through the jewelry and they didn't want any more. I go through it and tell them what it's worth: 10 karat, 9 karat, 12 karat, doesn't matter. I get to make a percentage off of it. The smelter takes a percentage, a piece of the pie, and there's enough left over to where it's worth my time to go drive up to LA, pay $30 a part, go spend an hour and a half, 2 hours upstairs doing our thing, come back and doing it again. So, and I just take that. That's the profit money, because I don't touch any money coming in from the household. That's all the house money. I make my metals money strictly by flipping. That's it. So if I want to build my stack, I might have to take 3 or 4 or 5 trips before I earn enough to get a half an ounce, a quarter ounce, or sometimes if I get good big months, then I get a little bit more. But that's how I do it. So I'm slow doing it because I've already hustled for 50 years of my life doing what I do.
No,
so now,
look, I
so now I'm having fun doing this. I met you. I met Chef, um, uh, uh, Scrooge. People from the YouTube that have been phenomenal. I've met MLZB and all the guys that we're doing the WWP with. This is my third or fourth year. I can't remember, on volunteering. I'm still going to be a moderator. Talk to you, and now we're going to be up on panel. You're going to hear me just like you are now. I'll be in the background, be in the background noise, try to have a little fun with everybody on the channel. We're raising money for a good cause. I'm enjoying my hobby. I like talking about it. I like sharing my experiences with it. And if I say one thing that resonates with somebody and it works for them, then I'm tickled pink.
yeah, I think you guys, if you're watching these channels like mine, other channels that are out there too, it's finding a channel that has a voice that resonates with you first. Second, it's trying to find your own voice, trying to find your own strategy. Take things I say, take things OC Stacker says, and apply it for yourself. The thing I don't recommend is doing anything too extreme. I don't recommend taking selling your home, going and renting an apartment, taking all of your money, putting it all into silver, and waiting for silver to go to $1,000. Okay, that's highly risky. I wouldn't do
So
that.
so tonight I can't read chat, so I'm walking back and forth to my computer to read it. David Chung, he says, "Hey, my LCS was selling at Buffalo at spot, but he didn't have the money. But I'll bet you if you went up to your LCS and said, 'Hey, look, I want that Buffalo. Can we lock on the price, and can I make payments on it until I pay it off and go pick it up?' I'll bet you nickels or donuts that he would do that for you." So in this industry, everybody, and this is another piece of advice that someone gave me a long time ago, which is cliche, but I say it all the time. The answer is always going to be no if you never ask the question. So if you like that Buffalo, it's what you want. It's what you want to add to your collection. Believe me, guys, back in the day, David, I don't know how old you are, but I'm sure that I walked into the LCS and I saw something that I really, really wanted. And if I did, I was there so much that I got to know them just like everybody else does. And they always say have a good relationship with your LCS. Look what our LCS is doing for us. I mean, my gosh, they're taking care of a lot of the gauze for this WWP over a 3-day event. People in the community have sent to us. I mean, it's amazing. So people I find in this industry are generally, for the most part, always nice and always willing, help you, advise you, tell you what they did. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm telling you what I did. My plan may not work for you. You may not have that deal, but I guarantee you, guys, when I was a mechanic, I would work 8 hours and I would come home and I would have 1 to 2 to 6 cars in front of my house. And I was doing brake jobs, water pumps, timing belts, valve cover gaskets, oil changes, transmission services, radiator, 60,000 service. I did whatever it took. So I would go be a mechanic for 8 hours and spend another 3 or 4 at my house making that extra money. I wanted a better life than what I grew up with. I didn't grow up bad. Everything was good. My parents were together or something like that. I just, I knew what I wanted for my future. And I just worked that hard until I got there. So I hope this helps somebody. I really do.
I
And
think it will. I mean, we got a lot of people on here. I know we're getting late, so East Coast people are going to be peeling off. It's like 11 o'clock at night. But, you know, I think for the most part, guys, what all this comes down to is you got to do what excites you. You know, if you are excited about collecting, it's okay to collect. If you're excited about adding weight, it's good to add weight, right?
ooh, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yep.
Collect after you get your weight.
Well, I'm not gonna say for sure on that. I'll contradict you on that one. I didn't do that. I got weight well after I started to collect. It depends on what your goal is. It depends on why you're doing it. I would have never gotten into this if it was about weight. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't what I was completely interested in right off the bat. It was very slow for me.
Yeah, but ask yourself, had you known what you know now, would have you gone about it the same way?
I would have done it the same exact way. Would have not have done it differently. And the reason for that is because for me, it wasn't about it wasn't about just collecting something. If I was going to do that, I would have just bought bars. If I was just going for weight, I would have never messed around with YouTube. I would have just put that away into into a vault, and it was just money, no big deal. The collecting is what brought me into the community. It's what got me excited about getting into silver in the first place. I would have never touched silver. I would have only done gold. So but I'm different. You know, I'm me. I'm surfer. I'm Jared. I'm going to do this differently than some other people have. If it wasn't for the collectible part of it, if it wasn't for the auctions on YouTube, and playing around with that, I would have just bought a couple gold coins and called it good, put it away. And then at some point, maybe I would have bought some bars down the road too. To me, the collectible got me interested in it to where I learned about it and I became more educated about it. And I still don't just go by weight. Weight is that's not my thing. If you want weight, go follow a channel that just does like Yankee Stacking. He's all about prepper stacker. I'm not a prepper stacker. I'm a hedge stacker. I stack in many different ways. I'm not about weight. That's not my thing, but I do have weight. I do that. And so what I mean by that is I still buy, I bought a silver Death Star for $650 2 years ago. I just sold it for $2,500 last week. And it's about 10 ounces. I made money from that. That's not something Yankee Stacking would do. He would never buy that because he only buys for weight. At least I'd say 95% of the stuff he buys for weight. He'll buy a few fun things here and there. For me, I'm also looking to flip them. So I'm also a flipper. I buy things that I think is going to go up in value that I can turn around and flip and get more ounces out of it. To me, it's not just about the weight though. And for me, I needed to start on the collecting side first to get me really into this a little bit more. For other people, it's the weight. And so what I would just say to that, OC, is I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it depends on the person. Some people, it might be just a weight game and that's all you want to do. For other people, I think there's the collectibles, and that means a lot of different things. I would say this coin's a collectible, but it's not really rare. It's not old, right? You can still find them on eBay to buy. And they made 3,000 of them, so it's limited. It's somewhat rare, but it's still just pretty much a modern coin. There's no history to it yet. It's cool that you can get it signed though, right? So only maybe 20 of those have been signed. So that's pretty cool. But I think you do need to kind of figure out which one of those things is going to go, keep you interested in it. And so that's why I say, to me, what's most important is what keeps you interested and what kind of excites you the most of it. If it's like following a Morgan collection, if it's like Frostbite coins. I saw a reel the other day he did where he was showing a new half cent that he got from the 1800s that's going to go into a book. Maybe you're collecting US coins in a book. I think you've got to do some of those things to keep you interested in it. At the end of the day, yes, it's about ounces, but it depends on how you're going to get there. It depends on how you're going to keep your interest in it. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but there are different ways of kind of going after it.
What I'm saying is, this is great that we're friends, but we had two totally opposite journeys of where you and I ended up today and right now, and you and I are just sharing our experiences with your listeners, and I think it's great that they can hear two different perspectives that at the end of the day still brought us to here. So I can't say that my way is the right way, obviously, but it worked for me. I was given advantages. We talk about this all the time. If something is SHIETF happens, what are you going to do? You need to have some kind of skill. I still own every tool I ever bought. So I can, at 62, I can still do those jobs. Now, is it going to take me 2 or 3, 4 hours to do it where it used to take me less than an hour? Well, sure, because I don't move as fast. I don't have 25 lifts at my disposal that I can go out and just lift up a car and go work on it. I got to, get the jack stands out and do all that stuff. But have I forgotten how to do it? Absolutely not. And if it got to that way, then, I would have people rolling up and start doing it again. I didn't forget how to fix cars. I didn't forget how to service right. I didn't forget how to order parts. That's a trade that I will have until the day I depart this earth. But at the end of the day, if you have a skill, if you're a hairdresser, why can't you go do your hairdresser? Then, hey, have 2 of your neighbors, your friends, people from your church, whatever. Hey, I need my haircut. Would you do? You know what? I'm working. Hey, I'll help you out a little bit. Just come to my house. We'll do it here. My next door neighbor owns a salon where she has over 30 employees. Ask me what she does. I've been getting my haircut next door for the last 30 years since they've been living next door to us. So I have that luxury. Like I said, if you have a skill, harp on it. If you don't have one, learn something. Learn how to do something.
Totally.
My dad could cut hair. So if somebody needed something, my friends would come over. I remember having parties at my house where we would have 10, 15, 20 of our friends over there playing basketball, riding skateboards. And then one by one, we'd go in the chair. My dad would cut everybody's hair. So when people say that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a trade. I'm not embarrassed about it one bit. I'm proud to be a mechanic. I did a good job. I didn't fix a car and someone go down the road and get injured. The tire didn't fall off. The brake, nothing happened. I was proficient at what I did. I cared about what I did. And my simple motto, when I owned my dealership, I would not put in your family in any car. I wouldn't put my own family in. And it's a very simple credo, but I was a 5-star Google for 20 years. That wasn't because I was a schmo. I paid my bills. I took care of my employees. When COVID hit, I told them to stay home and I paid them. It is what it is. I didn't want to risk their lives. I went in because I had no choice. But my business was considered, what's the term that they were using? Mandatory. There's another word I can't remember right off the top of my head. Essential. I was essential business.
Yeah.
People have to have their cars fixed to get to work, to go make the money. The work that the same government shut down. So, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but that's just my scenario. So once everybody got back, we figured out get the 95 mask, and I separated every other stall. My techs worked. I cut my workload in half. If there was nothing coming in, I would schedule one day where they all came in 2 or 3 days off until we scheduled up again until we got past it. But here again, it's planning, strategizing, looking at the lay of the land. Now, I didn't understand COVID, but I knew how to handle my employees and do the best I could with what I was given and the knowledge given. And I was successful in navigating through it. Like I said, here again, brother, I go back to the same thing, man. I count my blessings. I've been very fortunate, and I'm more than happy to share with anybody that wants to hear the story. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. There's no wrong way. We all just have different journeys.
Exactly. So, just looking at it, for example, like I've never been busier in my career than during the pandemic. I was putting in 60, 70 hours a week. And I'm virtual. So it's a whole different thing. Now, at the same time, jobs like what I have, they'll survive longer than a lot of the programmer jobs. But AI is coming for a lot of stuff, and it's going to be quite a while before they have robots that are articulate enough and fast as humans to replace a mechanic. But at some point, that'll probably happen too. But not everybody wants a robot to fix their stuff. So, you got to look at all of these things that are out there, guys. If you're worried about your job, do some research on it, see if there's ways for you to use new technology to improve it and to be better at what you do. Like OC said, have other skills. For me, my skills are mostly up in here in my head, and it's computer and it's other things like that. If there's no internet, if we have no technology anymore, then I start using my other skills like growing food. I've grown gardens before. It comes down to fixing other things around the house, but my skill is not with my hands. It's with my intellect. It's with my knowledge, my education, and things like that. And if all that stuff goes to the side, I've got to find other skills to be able to contribute and help with. Part of it's banking, money, things like that. But if you guys have harder skills instead of softer skills, I think you're going to survive a lot longer and be able to continue to contribute a lot more than someone that's just been with the soft skills. But in general, when it comes to stacking, I think for some people it's all about weight, and that's what they go for. For other people, it's all about collecting. The main thing I would just throw out there is you got to find what is what's your voice in this and what works for you. And then you've got to make sure that you're not getting carried over into areas that you don't really understand very well. So just because you hear someone talk about mining stocks, but you really don't understand them, don't go piling a bunch of money into that if you don't understand it. Understand it first. If you don't understand very much about collectible coins, don't go crazy trying to build a collection when you have no idea what you're doing. Go learn about that first. Mm-hmm. The easiest one's probably weight. Okay, because you're just looking for the lowest price that you can find for the metals. But make sure you're buying, at least 90% silver, if not 4/9's fine, or 3 or 4/9's fine silver. So that one you can't screw up as much. But if you're going to get into collecting stuff, there's so many different ways to get taken advantage of by overpaying for things, right? So just chasing Morgan dollars on auctions, if you don't know what the price is for that on the resale market and you're bidding on it, you're taking huge risk that you're overpaying for the stuff. So be careful with that. And then it depends on how much you're buying. It depends on what money you have too. And so, if like we showed the whale thing a minute ago, if someone has 10,000 ounces of silver and they want to go buy some collectible stuff with it, it's probably not going to be a big deal for them. Whereas if someone only has 50 ounces of silver and they're going to go buy something that's going to be the equivalent of another 50 ounces, but it's only going to come in the form of 5 ounces, stop, wait, are you ready to do that? Maybe you're not there yet. And so, a lot of times we'll cover different strategies, different thoughts, and how to go about that. What I did want to show is this real quick for everybody before we end here. The fundamentals have not changed. Okay, so if you believed in silver, that it was going to go much higher, and that we were going to probably have a bull run back before it hit 50, nothing has changed since then. Okay. This chart shows you exactly what was expected to happen. And the one thing I want to point out here real quick is if you look at the cup, this cup went all the way down to, let me see here. If I look at a bottom point of like 1993, I don't know, $3.70 for silver. So, in 1981, we got up to 50, well, just below 50 on the close on a monthly. Let's see. I can't tell if this is a monthly chart or not. Let's see. Yeah, I can't tell on there, but we never got back down there on the handle. Okay, the handle went down as low as like maybe 12, $14, around 14. Okay, so I just want to remind you guys that there's price ranges we can go into. All these color lines are Fibonacci's. It's all mathematical. The universe is based on math. And when you look at those, it'll tell you kind of where our probability is and where we could go with it. The reality is that everything's in place for us to have higher prices of silver in the future. When will it turn around? When will it go? Well, it depends on who you're looking at. North Star Bad Chart guys have been calling for it to go up and to come back down. It might bounce a little bit, consolidate, and then it should go up quite a bit higher. And you can see even up here that it goes up is where they're thinking it might hit. So this next run up might be 200. And we're not here all the way, guys, yet. We haven't hit 50. And they think it may go back up into the like 70 range, back down to 50, and then take off. Okay, this red line here is just speculation on where things could hit. And even if we get up to 200, they think maybe we're going to come back down to 130. It could go lower than that. It could go higher. I just want you guys to keep in mind that things are going to move up and down. And the important thing is if you have over leveraged yourself, either through debt or through buying too much of your net worth into silver, for example, since we're talking silver chart, when we get up to a higher silver price again, that might be a time where you want to sell some of it, take it off the table, and be able to pay some debts off or diversify a little bit. When the price comes down like this is a good time to be accumulating more of it for it to go higher. Now, to the point that OC was making earlier too, if you have collectibles, collectibles tend to hold their value when prices are going down quite a bit better than bullion does. At the same time, when prices are going up, collectibles tend to move slower up. And so that's why I can take something like a Death Star, for example, that is kind of collectible. It's rare. And it's a pretty cool piece. There's a lot of people that would like one. I was able to sell that at a pretty high premium of $250 per ounce when the price of silver is going for $60 an ounce. So why could I do that? Well, because the prices of the metals have gone down. That's why I sold that piece versus selling like a kilo of silver, which would have gone down drastically. This really didn't go down a whole lot. If anything, it never was worth much more than what I sold it for. So now is a good time to be taking some of your collectibles and selling those and moving into weight if that's your goal and you want to. And as the prices go up, you'll end up getting a better advantage with that weight. So, for someone getting started now, I think you got to do a little bit of what keeps you excited. Weight is the goal in the end to accumulate ounces, right? But it also comes down to why you're doing it. Is it just 90% silver because you're only worried about SHTFs? Are you planning on taking some of the silver, rolling it into gold? You're probably better off not buying a bunch of 90%. You're probably better off buying kilo, 10-ounce bars and 3 and 4/9 fine coins and rounds. So you got to kind of work through that. OC, any last words before we go?
I do. I came over, I turned my camera off and picked up my phone and came over so I could read. I like doing the show when I can read the chat and try to keep up with everybody, because I know when I'm in chat, I want to be recognized and have my questions answered. I'm going to go right to F37 metals. StackingSurfer, I'm a collector of different artworks on every generic round that I acquire. So one thing I didn't touch on that I did as my wife and I went on our journey building our life together. Did we stop and buy land? Yes, we did. Did we stop and buy art? Yes, we did. Do we vacation every year? Yes, we did. You got to keep living and enjoying life. You can't stop going out to dinner. I agree with stopping drinking coffee, only for the fact I don't drink coffee, so it's all good. Starbucks. But you have to allow yourself to enjoy life, but don't live your life where you got to worry about the future, because on this journey that we took on, I could have very easily gotten into any kind of accident or something happened and changed the course of our lives. So stack smart, be smart about it. Don't stop living your life. Don't not go to the movies with your friends because you're worried about whether you're going to miss out on a half ounce or a dime, a silver dime. It'll be, but trust me, it'll be there tomorrow. So, um, when you took on this channel and I met you, brother, I'm hoping that I know you're helping, brother. I've learned an awful lot from you. Our journeys are different, but like here again, we ended up at the same place. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy teaching about it. And people ask us, well, what are you buying? What do you do now? It moves and shifts. It was buying silver and gold 6, 8 months ago, and then it turned into the refinery shut down. Hey, I would load up. I would be buying, if I was buying, I would be buying 90%. The refiners aren't going to be shut down forever. There isn't an infinite supply of 90% silver and 80% silver. People were asking about Canadian stuff earlier. If you can buy it for silver at half price, every one of us would step up would back with the trucks and do it. Well, that's what's happening with 90% right now. I'm still saying, hey, look at the refiners are going to catch up one day. The silver, the 5 or 10 years that they've been less mining going on, and there's a deficit, but we don't see it because we see people selling money left and right, and all these coin stores have the risk of going out of business. And I listen to them and hear them, and I understand why they're buying silver at $5 and $10 and $15 back a spot. I'm seeing 90%, 35, 40% back, some even 50%. Hey, if I'm buying it, imagine if you had working capital for a business. Let's use around 100 grand, and I spent 75,000 buying it at 50% back, but yet it's tying up my money. I've got no avenue unless someone walks in my store and buys it. The smart ones say, hey, I'm only going to buy what I'm selling. If I sell 50 face, I'll buy 50 face. If I sell 200 face, then I'll buy 200. It's called business. That's how these guys either sink or swim. And some of these guys are going to get greedy, run out of money, get caught like we did on January, where it dropped, 30, 35%, whatever it was, overnight. Who's ready for that? Who's ready for the hockey stick?
And I think it's a good reason to have a variety of stuff too, guys. Like, if all you had is 90% silver and you needed to sell it for an emergency, you're unloading it at the wrong time.
Yep.
Right now is not a good time to be selling 90%. And at the same time, if you have, pure silver bars, this is a much better time to be selling silver bars if you had to sell something. The key, though, is if you're truly stacking and you're not wanting to sell any of it at all and pass it to the family so that you can avoid taxation on it, there's ways to do that completely legally. That's what most of us are setting up with trusts or even with a living will. And you can do this in a way that you pass that on to your family. Now, when I talk to other people, like a mentor of mine, Yankee, he's not 100% silver. He has real estate, he has gold, he has stocks, he has a home, he has other things that he does, businesses, whatever.
Well, you should probably tell everybody that's listening. Hey, listen, folks, we're only talking about 20% of what your retirement
20% of what your
your total. We're just talking about what we do with men. Like I said, I manage 20%. It's grown. Now, has my performance outperformed my portfolio with my stock guy? 100%. But like I said, I got lucky. The metals went up. I'm positioned correctly. I'm in a good place. Even if I were to sell today, I'm still in the profit of every ounce I own. That's in my deep stack. So we're good. But we're only talking about managing so much. But you still got to, you still got to have a place to live. So you might as well own the place and work on a savings account. If you pay your house off, you bought it at 200,000. Now it's worth 100 or 1.5 million. 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you've invested in your future. Now, if you want to go to a retirement home and you can sell your house and live off that, then that's just one avenue. Like I said, you diversify. Yes. Do I have art? Do I have land? Do I have a house? Yes. And Amy said it great. That's the word I was looking for all night. Moderation.
In everything, guys. So I'm going to throw it out here too. Like these comments from Ed Marsh real quick. Robots are bad. Not all robots are bad, guys. Like there are robots that can go in when there's like a big like hazardous waste thing that goes on, right? There's robots that can potentially help people in hazardous situations. They may be able to help us be a little faster and things too. So everything in life is moderation. Surfboards. You could go get 100 surfboards. That's probably too many. Probably wasting your money on surfboards.
Here's a good thing. I'm going to address this. Mr. Marsh, back to reality. What's a house? What's money? What's food?
Yep.
What we're talking about, brother, didn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
I'm 62, brother. I'm on a 50-year journey that I'm talking about today about. You know, my other story I tell. I owned a dealership. We were successful. We did okay. Every day I took a brown bag to lunch. I didn't go have the 3 cocktail lunch, 2-hour lunch with buddies and came back, whatever, and just willy-nilly to my shop. I was hands-on every day for 25 years, brother. Um, and I'm here to talk about it and tell you my journey, and I'm happy to share it. If you want some advice on what to do, I'm happy to share. But what food? You're right. Hey, brother, guess what? Part of what I'm doing my journey, I've got 6 months to a year's worth of food storage. I have 5 big 30-pound bags of dog food for my 4 dogs. I'm trying to be as prepared as I possibly can without going crazy. Amy, thank you. Moderation. Okay, every time I go to the grocery store, I buy an extra bag of rice, an extra bag of flour, a bigger bag of sugar. I go buy an extra dog food. It's not like I have an endless supply of money where I just did this overnight. Hey, I made
No, but
$3
it
million
happened
a
over
year.
years, right? You've been doing it for several years.
I've been in my house for 30 years. My journey started 30 years ago, and my wife and I had our first kid, bought this house, had our second kid, brother. I mean, uh, that's what we did. That's. I'm just telling you my journey and how I did it. Instead of going to the bars with brother, trust me. Hey, we're playing poker tonight. You guys want to come over? And it ends up being an all-night affair. You end up losing a couple
Yep.
$100. Heck, I did that side job. I could have taken a third and a third and a third and done something fun. So I would have gambled, maybe 50, $60 and then taken the other part of it and put it away for savings.
Yeah.
And then the part for obviously tidying and other things that, bills or whatever. Here, honey, here's some extra cash. I did a 3 extra side jobs this week. Here, let's just put this for a rainy day. Well, then the rainy day fund got good, and we said, okay, let's do this. Let's buy some art. Let's buy some land. When you get to that point, I can't sit here and lay out the roadmap for everybody that's listening to us. I can just give you a well-rounded perspective of essentially you're speaking with a master mechanic who just I'm trying to navigate through life like everybody else. There's nothing special about me. I didn't come into money. Everything I have, I've earned. Nothing was given to me ever, except for when my mom passed. But that's life. When I pass, guess where it goes? My kids. So it's just the journey of life, guys.
And in OC, I think, when you look at it too, so much of everything that goes on and what you're sharing and what you're talking about too is it's a mindset, right? It's a philosophy. It's not a one-time thing that you do. You've been doing it for 30 years. It's you've been putting together, right? And so, we're starting to get to New Zealand now, right? Because it's so late on the night here for us. But
hang on a second. I'm gonna cut you off again. I'm gonna go back to Ed Marsh because I love addressing this kind of stuff. How many skills do you have?
Yes, that's what I was just going to get to. So,
hey, brother, guess what? I'm a guy that doesn't take excuses. I had a dealership where I had 30 employees. I heard excuses coming out my ear. You are in charge of your life, not me, not Surfer, not vote for Pedro, nobody. Mr. Marsh, you're in charge of your own life. You can pick up a book tonight and start learning how to farm, start to learn how to do something simple. Go get a go do something. Go to McDonald's and learn how to cook hamburgers. I mean, you can do a skill. You're only limited by, you're only limited by your own abilities, brother.
Yeah, but he's not saying he's limited. He's saying he's trying to see how many people in here are limited.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm not harping on you, brother. I'm just saying.
No,
hey,
no. But let me pull up the chat things as he's got them here because I want to hit that as you're talking too. So we got 120. Okay, a couple things real quick. We have 129 people on here. Just as a quick side thing, guys. If you're not subscribed, you enjoy listening to what we're talking about. We have a lot of interviews on this channel with some of the biggest names in the space. I share a lot of my philosophy. I bring guests on like OC Stacker too. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell icon, do a thumbs up. that helps share more of this with people. And it's not just about my channel. It's not just about OC Stacker's channel. It's about the movement. If you believe in sound money, if you believe it's important to own your wealth and hold on to it and not just have it sitting at a bank and then find out that you actually don't own the cash you gave to them, that you basically loaned it to them. And if they go bankrupt, you're out of money potentially. And if enough banks go out, you could lose your FDIC insurance. I mean, there's crazy stuff we cover on this channel too to hit things. It's not about freaking you guys out. It's not about scaring you. It's about helping you become a little bit more prepared for things. I've just been reading in the news. It looks like we're starting to fight with Iran again. I don't know that this peace thing is going to go over very fast or quickly. And the longer it takes, the more likely we are to have a famine next year with not as much fertilizer getting out there. And so having a garden's great, right? So I just wanted to hit a few points here. So, OC, as you're talking and looking at this, I think he's bringing up a bunch of questions here that he's asking to everybody that's on here. So 131 people right now that are watching. How many of us have a garden that you can go out there and get food? Now, if you have a garden, how many of us are making extra food? And what do we do with the extra food? Are you canning it? Are you taking it to neighbors to share with them? Maybe you've got certain vegetables that other people don't have, and you set up a box out in front of your house where people can swap vegetables or whatever else. So you've got that. We've got the pew-pews. How many people have pew-pews, and how many do you have, and how many rounds of pew-pew seeds do you have, right? And then how many skills do you have, right? So it's going into all those things. So I think what he's saying is that he's agreeing with everything you're saying, OC. He's basically saying, what's next? What do we fix up with? If the internet turned off and there was no longer electricity ever again on the planet, I have some skills I can still do. They're different than the skills I make my living from right now, but there's a lot of things I could still help people with. I have a pretty vast knowledge on just crazy stuff because that's what I do instead of the normal things humans do. I absorb everything.
Well, yeah, and we're talking about this. And let's talk about my wife for a minute. She's a great cook. We make our own candles. We make our own moonshine. We make our own toffee. Our toffee took 20 years to perfect. You've tasted that, and we have people coming to us saying you should go into business for that. Nope, we make it one batch at a time. It's consistent. It's done the same. It doesn't break your teeth, and it doesn't stick to your teeth. It's the best toffee you'll ever had in your life. So, talked about skills. Like I said, we can go make candles. We can make food. We can cook. We can do all that kind of stuff. Like I said, um, and again, it didn't happen overnight, folks. My wife and I learned by trial and error. She was taking cooking classes for multiple years. I just jumped in the kitchen with her and tried to help with, chopping or pureeing or doing whatever, or using the blender or helping her chop stuff. And at the same time, what she learned, she brought home and taught me. So now we make a great team. So that's one of our things that we do that now we love. We love cooking together. So,
and start off real quick, this little herb garden here. So we've got, what do we have here? We've got mint, cilantro, and then we have parsley. And you can switch these things out, right? You could get multiple of these things and grow it in your house. It's not outside. It needs to go to bed now. So it's going to bed. But
you know what's kind of funny, brother? We go to the market, we buy the live plants. You know how they sell we buy the rosemary and thyme. We come home and plant it.
Yeah.
And when they die, we just go buy another plant for $1.99 and we start all over. So, like I said, guys, we have a lot to share. I've been around this planet for 62 years. Moderation, and don't stop living, enjoying life, enjoy it. But along the way, set yourself a little goal. Okay, this year, hey, we're gonna sit and save. We're gonna try and get X amount of silvers. If you don't hit it, you don't beat yourself up. If you hit it early, then wonderful. Move on to the next project. You never know when you're going to get a bonus. You might, fall into money. So you might have an uncle who left you a coin collection. There's all kinds of stories. We all have something going on in our lives.
For sure.
We're just trying to help you with the 20% of your retirement and try to, be smart about it. Now, I want to go back. I'm sorry, brother. I want to go back to your whale chart or picture real quick. When you and I talked about how our journeys went. Now, weight-wise, I'm towards the top. But had I bought collectibles and stuff, I would be half that. I would be at 2,000, 3,000, whatever it was. But like I said, I went to it because at the end of the day, when you go
Well,
mount it,
but
if it, hang
it
on,
all
if it is,
depends. It all
if it,
depends on like when you mentioned moderation earlier too. It all depends on what you're doing. Like, what does collectibles mean? Does it mean buying one Morgan dollar, or does it mean buying like an entire set of Morgan dollars? Right? There's kind of a difference between that. Mainly, what I was saying is it's good to have some fun with it as well. I'm not saying go and build this massive collectible thing to start with. What I'm saying is you need to have a little bit of fun with it too, not just go and get a bunch of really generic
oh, oh yeah,
silver
that's what I'm
bars.
saying. Like I said, we just took different journeys. All I'm saying is I went for weight first. Now, if you come to my house right now, you've been to my house. You were just here yesterday. I've got every kind of poor. I support all the poor artists. I have my own channel
Yeah,
that I was doing.
and
I've got
I don't do a lot of poor stuff because
yeah.
I'm going for weight now.
But see,
Um,
but here, look at we have friends like Pedro, who has a friend who has a 25-acre farm where they grow. If something happens, he's our friend. Hey, Pedro, we ran out of food. We're
yep.
gonna come visit you and your friend.
Well, but here's the other thing. Things can go wrong too. I started a couple of these hydroponic gardens, and I had to go to Vegas for a week for my day job, and I come back and everything's dead. Okay,
Mm.
I don't know what the crap happened. I basically threw away about $300 of plants. Maybe it wasn't that much. Maybe it was like $150 of plants. It didn't work. It was an experiment. And the sun was super hot that week. It had water, but maybe too much fertilizer in there. And I was in a hurry, leaving, and I didn't really have the time to look over it. No one else is going to look over the stuff. I've done gardens in the past here in Southern California. It's really hard to do a garden. I don't have full sun all day. I only have a sliver in between houses where there's sunlight. So it gets difficult for us on these tiny lots to grow a lot of food.
Well,
You
here
can't have chickens. You
let's
can't do
stop right.
things like that.
Let's stop right there real quick. Let's get back to buying the house. I never knew how important it was to buy a east-west house until I bought my house that happened to be east-west. Then I have friends, and yours is opposite. And so I have, sun on my house from beginning to end. So when it
Yeah,
gets
but
down to making decisions and getting lucky in life, I didn't plan that. I had no
yeah, but I mean,
knowledge of that kind of stuff when I bought this house.
your backyard. I mean, you don't have a big garden in your backyard. There's not a lot of space for it, right?
Well, no,
Like
but what I'm telling you is that if it does hit the fan and I have to, I can well go out there and dig up all that grass and go start planting corn,
for
tomatoes,
sure, for
cucumbers, or
sure. I
whatever.
mean,
So,
yeah.
and believe me,
If you get in this,
that's part of the plan if something happens. Is what I'm telling you. So
but
I'm
here's the
lucky I
thing: it
got here.
depends on where you live. See, if you live in Utah, you want to have a south facing driveway, or the thing's going to be solid ice all winter. So, depending on geographies can make a huge difference. If you live near the ocean on the East Coast, you might have your house on stilts where you're risking, hurricanes and other things like that too. I have enough space to grow some food, but even if you took your whole backyard out, OC, it would be very hard to grow enough food for you two to live on, in your family
Agreed.
off of it.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
And so it's, you do what you can. If it fails, you don't give up. You move on and you do the next thing too.
I guess I'm just guessing. I'm just pointing out that I have that option on the table, whereas if I bought an opposite way house,
totally.
I wouldn't. So that's just the generalities of making points of what we can all make arguments about everything. If I lived in Utah and I knew the
Yep.
south facing thing, then I was obviously when I went to go shopping for one, I would make that a priority. But
so you have that. The other thing that I look at too is where I live, we've got a park across the street. That could become a big community garden. We've got another park down the way here that could become a big garden too. The one thing we don't get in California is water. It doesn't rain here. There's no real rivers around here. There's a reservoir on the other side of the mountain over here I can get to. And
we have concrete rivers.
But there's no water in there. You couldn't use it to do anything with it. It's pretty polluted when it does come down. There's a lot of homeless people and needles and all kinds of stuff in it. But, you got to look at your area and figure this stuff out. It's the same thing with the metal stuff. And so, I think the thing that's really important to kind of think of, guys, is it's when you look at the moderation, it's also, moderation in what you do. and it's okay to change over time. You may go really, really heavy as a percentage of net worth in gold and silver for a period of time because you don't have a better investment yet. And so, you know, it's okay to do that. You may go 100% because you're in between things and you don't have a better place to put your money at the moment and you don't want it cash. You might have other times where you decide, I'm going to move out of some of these metals and I'm going to put it into a business or into a piece of real estate, or I'm going to put it into cash because I think metals are going to go down. You know, when you look at these charts and we look at things, yes, the fundamentals tell us that metals are going to keep going up and they're going to go, you know, higher, but there's going to be times where they hit peaks and they do come back down. You know, are we ever going to see $5 silver again? I highly doubt that.
No,
if we did see $5 silver, I think we have a lot bigger problems.
Well, the only way that happens if the world just collapses and we basically fall back to ground zero. Then guess what? All of us here listening and talking about this are still ahead of over 99% of the population that doesn't. I mean, it's our hobby and we're passionate about it. And you hear us talking about it. Obviously, we're passionate about it. But this is just one aspect of my life. Do I have a gun collection? Do I have other hobbies? Yes. Did I have every car under the sun when I was a car dealer? Yes, I did. So, like I said, don't stop living, enjoy it. But holy mackerel, um, you know, enjoy it while it's here. Appreciate the day. Appreciate your family, your friends, the people that care about you. I mean, like I said, it's an awesome thing. And like Donna said in here, each fail, you learn something. Exactly. You think of the first time I cooked toffee, I didn't burn it. I didn't ruin a pan. I had to go throw it out and go work a couple extra weeks, go buy another pot and start all over again. Absolutely. I'm just painting a rosy picture. I mean, I could sit here and tell you story after story. Have I done jobs where I pulled the car in, pulled it all apart, ordered the parts, and find out that the parts people brought me the wrong part, and I've got a car ripped apart in my garage, and I can't park in that night? Don't I'm sugarcoating what happened, but believe me, for every good solution I had, you know, just as many bad or some headaches that came on, or someone that couldn't give it their car for a day, where I literally would let them take my car to go to work, and then I would figure out a way. I always had extra cars here at the house, so I always just would grab a car and go. But you just have to. So then that taught me a lesson. Hey, Jeff, if this happens in the future, what are you going to do? Well, that's when I learned, hey, let's go buy a cheap car, make sure it's reliable, and that someone can get to A and to B. If I'm doing a side job and they brought me the wrong parts, or something wasn't right, or I discovered another problem once I got in there, they needed brakes and found out the hub bearing was bad. So rather than do it twice, you loan them your car and move on. Like I said, you get presented a problem, you come up with a solution. So it's crazy.
Back over, buddy.
And Mr. Marsh, I'm not worried about them coming to steal everything. I've got my pew pew sitting right here next to me, that's on me at all times when I'm at home.
All right, we're gonna put the fire pit on here for a second.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, I know we're gonna wrap up here pretty quick. If anybody wants to ask something in the chat, just put it in all caps so I can see it a little bit easier. For me, even though I have my glasses on, I still use them when I'm on the computer. So if you have a question for either one of us, that isn't a long-winded answer like we've been given.
Well, and you know, OC, I'll just say this too, kind of as we wind things down here. You know, when we talk about moderation, it's also, you know, I get questions all day long, and almost every day I get questions from people about what should I do? How much should I do? If you're asking those questions, it's good, it's healthy. But what happens is those questions get asked without any data. I have no idea if you're a billionaire, a millionaire, or if you have no money.
Or how old you are.
How old you are, how much you already have, you know, do you even have a job? Like, there's just no one ever gives any details or data. Now, I'm also not telling you to put all that information in a public chat. Okay, don't do that. But what I'm telling you is, no, I try to answer as many questions as I can. I try to give you guys as much information as I can. We're going to have other ways of doing that will be more private in the future to help you guys a little bit better with it. But, you know, the issue is, you're going to be learning, you're figuring this out, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to stumble on things, and you might find out that you buy too much of certain things. So as we were talking about collectibles versus weight, okay, those mean different things. When some people talk weight, they may be talking 90% silver is weight. They might also be talking 3/9 fine silver or 4/9 fine silver is weight. Some people, when they're looking at weight, they're talking about sovereign coins like eagles and maple leafs. And other people, when they're talking heavy on weight, they're talking just pure bars or rounds. If you really want to get down to it and get the best, cheapest weight, you should be buying 100-ounce to 1,000-ounce Comex bars to get the cheapest price. But good luck on selling that stuff. It's heavy, and you're only going to find so many buyers. So, we try to give you guys a good idea of different kinds of things to own, why you might want to have certain things in it. Collectible versus weight also gets very skewed when you can possibly be buying collectibles under spot price. There are people that'll be at, estate sales, okay? Or you may even find something at a pawn shop where someone's unloaded it and they just want to get rid of things. And you might be able to find a collectible that you're buying at spot or below. And that's even better than buying weight, because technically you are buying something at weight that has added value to it. So a lot of it depends on how you buy it. The key is you've got to have that flexibility. This guy, I'm not kidding. My dog here could play like throw toys all day long. He's bringing me stuff out now. Anyway, you've got all these different things that you can do, and you may be too low of a percentage sometimes. You might be too high other times. I would say if you go back to before COVID, if you go back to like 2018, 2019, 5% in precious metals was really good. 3% was really good. You're way higher than anybody else. It's only been in the last 8 months or so, maybe a year, that you've even had the big bullion banks come out and recommend that you should have 20% to 25% in precious metals. And they will never tell you silver. They'll always tell you gold. They're just freaked out about silver stuff. So when they say the 20%, they're talking about gold, guys. They're not talking about silver. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have it in silver. It's just how those guys kind of pitch it. But the reason I bring that up is there'll be a time where they tell you to have less than 1% again. And you might decide to do that, or you might decide, hey, I'm a stacker. I'm going to hold on to this. I believe this is great money. And, if you look at it from the year 2000 on, gold has been one of the best investments to be in. It's just about beat everything else out there. If you go back further in time, though, then the S&P 500 kicks its butt. So it all depends on the time frame you're looking at, what your goal is, what you're trying to do with it. But I do think it's really good to be flexible and to be able to kind of go in and out of it. If you have too many collectibles, now's a great time to move those into weight. If you're really, really heavy weight, guess what? This could also be a good time to pick up some collectibles that someone's trying to unload. Just make sure you're not overpaying for them. And then the last thing I would say is, and we hit this a few times, learn a new skill. There's lots of ways to learn skills right now. Someone was saying we need to get rid of all the, I think it was Marsh was saying that too, get rid of all the AI. It's completely bad and evil. Okay. Moderation in all things as well. I don't think you should be using AI as your counselor and as your boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay. Be very careful telling it personal information. However, AI right now can help you a lot with trying to better understand how to do a new skill. How to, become a mechanic if you wanted to. AI will give you all kinds of resources to help you get started with that. You can write your own software right now with AI. You can create a company with AI. It can benefit you. The moment that you give up your brain though to the AI or your decisions, that's where I think you're taking a huge run with it. And I think we're overdoing it in using too much AI, in my opinion. But I think there's a time and place for it. I think there's also a time and place for things like YouTube, and some of you guys are on YouTube all the time. There's probably some other things that you should be doing too that would be helpful. But we enjoy it when you guys are on here chatting with us.
Yeah, it's kind of, and here, look at my hobbies are guns, cars, and coins. So we're talking about bartering and doing whatever. Hey, I can also take guns apart and clean them. If there's something's wrong, I can machine parts and fix them. Like I said, you can teach yourself so many skills if you really wanted to. You could teach yourself to go out there and go grab a stone and make a bow and arrow like they hunted, you know, back before we had electricity, phones, or lights. So I'll never take anybody's excuse that they can't do something. Everybody can do something. My dad's girlfriend has been in a wheelchair her whole life. She can still work on a computer. She can fulfill orders for companies. She can do something for 1 or 2 hours a day or at her leisure when people are at work remotely. All of us are capable of doing something. Can I learn how to work on computers? I've been working on it for a long time. I'm still not very good at it. And Surfer and Pedro can attest to it because they both witnessed I push a button that should be doing what it's doing and does something completely different. So I just laugh at myself and understand that that's just one area that's just not going to be my wheelhouse. But hey, while you're working on my computer and help me with my computer, I'm going to be over here doing your braid job, cutting your hair, making you candles for your house. Like I said, barter, brother. Get a skill that somebody needs that you can fulfill and have more than one.
And I
Like I
think
said,
one of the skills that everybody can learn on here too that is really important is how to be a bank and how money works in general. Okay, so one thing I just want to push out there with SHTF. I think a lot of people think that I have constitutional or junk silver sitting in a bag somewhere, and when the SHTF happens, I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to go buy bread and I'm going to go buy all these supplies. No, you're not. No one's going to want your silver. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
It's not going to happen. What they're gonna want is food and supplies. So if you happen to have a bunch of extra deodorant, or you got a bunch of extra toothbrushes laying around or toothpaste, someone may trade you some of that for food. Okay.
Yeah,
If you
lighters,
can grow
alcohol,
food,
matches.
yep, matches, alcohol, cigarettes, things that people are somewhat addicted to or have a need for, or
And look
let
at
them
and
escape.
Chef Stacker brings up a point. That's another thing I was going to say. When the skills that my wife has, we make our own jams and jellies. We know how to can. We can our peaches, apples. We do that. We go out. We taught ourselves how to do that. So if we had to sustain, if we had ample supply or whatever, and like I said, that's why this is a prepper stacker channel. I am 100% a prepper stacker, more on the lines of the way Yankee does, where it's weight. I don't care if it's toned. I don't care what it is. If I can buy an Eagle for $3 below spot, I'm doing it every day and twice on Sunday. You buy that's how you do this, and that's what we're all talking about, guys. I'm not trying to sell you a Bugs Bunny silver that they only made 3,000 of for $200. I wouldn't do that in my private life. I wouldn't do that when I buy
I
and flip.
will,
Yeah, you will, but Jared, here to your point, that's one of your skills that you learned how to do that when you got
but
into
not
silver,
Bugs
when you met
Bunny.
Stormy
Bugs
and those
Bunny
guys.
wouldn't
But
be worth it. Just kidding.
but
Keep going.
but you taught yourself how to make money doing that. What I'm telling you is you had that skill. I just didn't want to do that. If I bought it for a reason. I bought it for a stacking purpose or for deep stack. That's what I bought it for.
Well, it's
Unless
the
someone
same.
calls me
It's
up
the
and
same
says,
as
well,
it's
hang
the
on.
same as jewelry, though. I mean, you'll buy jewelry to resell it. You don't keep it for yourself and wear it, right?
Oh, well, here, let me throw in the caveat because, like I said, we're painting a pretty broad picture here.
Yeah.
Now, when I bring it home, do I have a wife and two daughters that will go out there and hunt and peck and say, I want this? And then dad lays down and says, well, here you go. And then I move the rest. And there goes my profit for stacking. But my kids got a piece of jewelry that I know if they fell on hard times, they know what the value is. So we teach our kids in different ways. That just happens to be ours. Let me give another quick example. I had a friend of mine who removes junk. The lady called him up and says, I have a storage locker. I'm never coming back to California. Go dump it all. Well, he starts going through it. We find Louis Vuitton, all these name brand purses. There was like 25 of them. And then we found all the wallets, all the matching wallets to all of them. And they're all still in the boxes, never even been opened or used. So he
Have you
brings it
taken
to
those to
me.
tangible?
Well, no. So what happened was my daughter is very proficient at finding designer items. She goes thrifting for it. You and I go thrifting for sterling and silver. She goes thrifting for clothes that are worth value. She found a sweater for, I think she paid $13 for it and sold it for $450 or some ridiculous number. So we did the research for him, showing him what was going on. Now this junk guy has his daughter and neighbor helping him with this. He started with as part of his junk thing. If he gets something, these guys research everything for him. If it's got value, they sell it, and he gives them a percentage of the profits. We're all capable of doing something. Chef, yeah, thank you for putting that in there, brother. Chef has been my mentor in ways where I would listen to Chef when I was retired, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, talking about doing this stuff. We got so involved with it. it's turned into a fun hobby. It gives us a chance to get together at least once a
Or
month doing something.
I've lost my 6th wedding ring surfing. So I no longer wear gold and silver wedding rings because I lose them every time I go surfing.
And here's another example. And then before I do anything with my jewelry, I go to Chef's house. That's what I did the other day when I went up to go take care of one of our clients. Hey, I got all this jewelry. Do you guys want any of this? Well, he ended up, I can't remember, Chef. I think he bought 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for him and Maria. Now they have access to where they have friends that come to them and say, I want some jewelry, but I want to pay a lot for it. So they still have quality jewelry that's been tested and proven that they're getting exactly what they're paying for, but they're hooking them up. So if I can pass what I discovered onto them and help them out, same with you and with the flatware set that you got, that brings me joy that I'm helping my friends and my community out, and we're helping each other. And I love our friendship and what we have going on. It's an awesome thing, and it's cherished by me. That's for sure.
Me too. And it's, there's a lot of stuff I learn. I'm not a mechanic, and doing mechanic stuff would probably, I don't know if it would be equivalent to you doing the computer stuff, but it would be a lot like it.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't do it. I'm not super proficient at it. I'd have to kind of study it a little bit and figure it out. But for me, I'm a sponge. I soak things up. I figure I have only been stacking since 2021, where I've actually been doing it. I put a YouTube channel out. The reason I have people on for interviews is because it would cost me $5,000 to $10,000 to take them to lunch. Why not do it free? Why not have them come on and get interviewed for free? And I get to ask them the questions that I would ask them at lunch. I have saved tens of thousands of dollars doing that with some great people. And, that's one of the reasons I do that. But for me,
you need to look beyond that. You've also helped the people on your channel.
Oh, exactly. So I
We
share
all
it with you
learn.
guys
I mean,
too. Yeah,
you
exactly.
brought your skill of interviewing and being able to be articulate and do what you do. I'm immensely grateful for you. That I'm constantly learning. The world's constantly changing. Things are always evolving. You can listen to the show 3 months from now, and nothing that we're talking about other than the basic stuff will apply to what we're talking about. What do you think silver will be? What will gold be? You know what? It's going to go up and go down. Same as it did yesterday. Same as it did 2 years ago and 10 years ago. The bottom line is, if you absolutely have to have something, you have something at your disposal that's a tier 1 asset with zero party risk to take care of you and your family. That's all we're talking about, but we get sidetracked on what we're talking about tonight. But at the end of the day, that's what we're all doing here, brother. And you still have over 100 people in here listening and talking to us. And hopefully most of them agree. But, like I said, no one's put anything in capitals for us to contradict us. So we're all pretty much on the same page and understand what's going on. We're just put it in simpleton terms and explaining it through our life journey.
No, we just have the one dude that jumped in here that's always jumping on my stuff, calling me a Mason, which I'm not, and I don't know what that is all about. We just have that dude that jumps in every once in a while.
It drives me crazy that people sit there and listen to these people. When you have a channel, I don't give a rat's hiney what anybody thinks about me. You know who I care about? What my priest, what my neighbor, what my friends, what my wife and kids think of me.
Yeah.
I worry about what the opinion of people that matter to me come to. If I got, let's point out Kenji. I love, I didn't like Kenji, but I grew to enjoy him. You have to understand where they're coming from. I think he's like me in a lot of ways. He's a Weisenheimer most of the time, but when it comes to talking about taking care of family and whatever, that's when it gets serious. But we have fun with it, and here again, this is a part of what we're talking about. We can't have a serious conversation for 3 hours and not lose a million people because they get bored with the regurgitated message.
Well, but I think that's the key. Like, a lot of content you're going to find on YouTube is someone trying to get views. Okay, they'll go do AI research to find out what the keywords are that are trending. Okay. Then they'll go watch someone else's video. Then they'll copy it. And then they'll put it out there and they'll go use AI to create a thumbnail. I mean, there's no one better than this than Asian guy, okay? Which isn't even like a real dude. It's just a bunch of AI channels that are created by some group we don't know. For all I know, it's China trying to mess with our market here. But they honestly helped really push silver up, okay? But they also did it so fast that they made it crash down as well. I would have rather still been just hitting $100 an ounce for silver right now. that would have been a much more sustained climb than this crash we've had. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So a lot of people do that on YouTube. For me, I don't pay enough attention to that stuff. That's why my channel's not super big now. It's doing well. It's a big channel, but it could be a lot bigger if I put my, I've got 2 advanced degrees in advertising and marketing and digital marketing. This is my stuff, algorithms, all this stuff, what YouTube does and Google. I don't utilize a lot of that because I'm not trying to, I don't have an agenda to get you guys to do something or do stuff. I'm just a guy that,
No.
I'm a guy that went crazy on metals. I'm getting close to 20% because that's where I want to be. And, once I hit that, I'm pretty much done accumulating my metals, except for when I get extra cash and I don't want to have cash sitting around, then I will put it into metals. But I'm getting to the point now where I don't want the physical anymore. I want more stuff that's going to, I want physical, but I want it to be vaulted far away from my home. And I want it to be super inexpensive with bars so I can play the gold to silver ratio. That's kind of the point of where I'm getting to right now. Now,
hey, do me a quick favor. Why don't you highlight Vote for Pedro's last chat on your screen?
Okay, what's he got in here?
And that's another thing. I met Vote for Pedro doing the WWP, and I have grown to thoroughly enjoy everything about him. And every time we chat on the phone, we're talking about how we're handling all this donation stuff, and it's amazing how much we're on the same page on a lot of things. So,
okay, we're gonna do a quick giveaway. We're gonna do a giveaway here, guys. So, here's what we're gonna do.
Oh, I didn't read the last part. Where did they get 1 ounce of gold from OC Stacker?
We're gonna give away OC Stacker's gold right now. So here we go. We're gonna do some gold. We'll do some gold backs, okay?
Let me guess. One of my buffaloes.
Yeah, no, he's not gonna do that. Don't ask that.
That's funny,
I mean, seriously. Okay, look, I'm gonna throw out a couple things real quick. Okay, so hashtag OC Stacker. Just start loading the chat up, everybody. 108 of you in here. I want to see at least 50 of you guys do this. Let me put it over here real quick.
Well, I don't have. I got a table full of donations sitting right next to me, brother. I'm okay to donate whatever, with Pedro's permission, of course.
Okay. All right, we're starting to get them in here, so we're going to load this up on the screen so you guys can actually see it. We should get at least 50 people in here, to be honest.
Well, let's hope so.
We're gonna do some half gold backs. Okay, we've got some of those hanging around. But let's get up to 50 entries. We only have 6. So boom. Okay, there's only 6 of you that can figure this out. Now I will caveat, I only have a way of sending these to people that are in the US right now. If you're in other areas, I'm sorry, we'll be working on that. You also have to be over 18. The rules are down below in the description on how to run to an auction, not an auction, a giveaway with this, guys. There are certain rules there. What we'll do is we'll do a half gold back, and we'll do 2 of those tonight. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways this time. Well, next Sunday, we're going to be doing a lot of giveaways as we're doing everything else, and I want to keep as much of that to help us raise money over there.
Let me shout out Justin, who just dropped one of those. What are those things called? Where you can jewels? Is that what they are? I think they're called. Where you can do it from your phone.
I can't see him on. I'm not on YouTube right now. I'm only on StreamYard. It doesn't show those. So, thank you very much for the jewels.
Yeah, and for anybody that ever does anything like that, we like I said, Surfer appreciates it. And I do too, because I don't want to see him go away or something happen. Like I said, I watch a lot of channels. But one thing you don't get here is regurgitation, and that's why I'm consistently back. That's why I don't think that's the reason we became friends, but we became friends just through helping each other out, basically. But
yeah, you'll get a little bit of regurgitation, but it's because they're foundational and you need to have them. But I'll tell you guys, look, I took 2 1-ounce gold coins, which were Queen's Beast completer coins. I bought them for less than a gold eagle. Okay. They were like $50, maybe $100 less than a gold eagle when I bought them. I was able to take those 2, sell them on eBay, pay my fees. Okay. Pay my taxes, pay the shipping. And I was able to take that money that was left over and buy 3 24-karat gold buffaloes, BU. That's how I play some of my stacking. So, I also did the same thing with the year of the tiger for the gold. Not, is it zodiac? I don't know what they call it. Chinese New Year. The Chinese calendar. So I had a bunch of 10th ounces and I had a couple of the 1 ouncer ones. Now, do I wish I had them still? Yes, those were kind of cool coins. I wish I still had them. But if I can take a couple ounces and turn it into 3 ounces, I'd rather do that. And so that's one way I do it. I don't really do the jewelry thing. I don't have the way of testing it. I don't have time to go to someone's house to do that. I barely have time to do this stuff. And my issue is most of the time when I'm doing stuff on YouTube, it just means I'm only going to get like 4 to 6 hours of sleep instead of more. I just end up sacrificing my sleep for stuff, and I can't always do that, and I've got to be careful with it. But here's the deal, guys. Look, the key is learn and then share and educate. We only have like 0.5% of US adults that are stackers, that are buying gold and silver on a consistent basis and believe in the things that we're talking about. We need to get that up to 5 to 10%. And the reason for that is we need a critical mass so that people have gold and silver. Like right now, if everything goes to crap tomorrow, and I'm the only guy that understands money, and this is where I was going kind of with a comment a few minutes ago, I can look at gold and silver and I can help people understand what the value of it is, and we can help start to kind of understand what we might be able to trade for it with. Now, initially, when an SHTF hits the fan, if it's, say, electricity going out, or if it's a financial collapse like a Great Depression, or it's a massive earthquake or something else like that goes, first people need to take care of their immediate needs of eating and security and supplies. But once you get that figured out, and once there's a way for someone to replenish things, like someone can repair your genes, or we've got food being grown so that it can be replenished, then a marketplace will start if things don't return to normal. And at that point, yes, gold and silver is going to be super valuable, silver more than gold. And you're going to be able to be that person that helps your community know how to do with it. And by the way, if you're the only person that has all of it, you're the one that gets to go buy everything. You're the bank. So everybody's coming to you to get the silver so that they can go buy stuff. And if you're smart, you would seed a little bit of silver with your neighbors and everybody else and help them understand how to use it so that you get a system going. I mean, that would be kind of a fun video to kind of, start that. But, if you had 1,000 ounces of silver and you were able to, and you had it fractionalized, and you could give everybody a couple ounces, but you have hundreds of ounces, you're still in a great position. Okay. So there's a lot of things like that I don't think people think through, but I think the key is to not overdo it. Be smart about how you're doing this thing. And then you got to build a community. Lynette Zing talks about that a lot. And I think that's probably more important than building your stack, is the community. Your stack's not going to do a whole lot of good for you if you just stay in a bunker for a decade.
Yeah, I wish I had a friend or a neighbor that had a dairy farm and a cow farm where I can get my meat and milk from. That would be ideal. But
yeah, I just have a doodle. They're not good for any of that stuff, but he'll throw with you and have lots of fun.
All right, let's pull a winner and let's call it a night. It's
all right. Did we get up to 50?
No, we only got, even I.
No, we're at 36. All right, we're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay, here we go, guys. We're pulling it.
Oh, hang on a second. Well, hey, Pedro, I'm on my phone, so I can't check our group chat because I got my PC.
We're gonna do two of these. We'll do two. Okay, so at Mark BCM, send me an email. So congratulations first off, and then send me an email, StackingSurfer@gmail.com. In the title, put GAW winner, and then remind me it's a half gold back. I believe they're Arizona is what I have right now.
Hey, Pedro wants to add to the EOS.
Okay.
So we can. I don't have the ability to check our group chat because I think you and I are both on our phones, so we can't do it right now. But we can draw something else, and whoever wins, just put on their vote for Pedro EOS prize, and we'll figure out what it is, and we'll get the information to Pedro to mail it out. If that's okay with you, Pedro.
And then if you Mark, if you want to donate this to the Wounded Warrior Project,
you can do that too. Yeah,
we can do that too, and we'll put your name on, and we'll do that. I've got to go back, OC, and remind me. I need to go back and do the ones we did like 3 weeks ago. There's a few people I need to add that we'll do for giveaways for folks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we've got that. I'm gonna run. We'll run one more here too. Okay, let me see what he had real quick.
Run one for Pedro. Run one for me. What'd you do? A half goal back?
Yeah.
I got the same thing here. I'll do one. Someone's gonna get a OC stacker half goal pack. Let's go. Let's roll it.
Yep. That just means that he what did you do to that gold back? My dog's attacking me now.
It's there with all the other ones I have. They're in my gold back wallet that you got from me when you went to go visit them.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Hey, congratulations, Justin. That's awesome.
Congratulations, Justin.
Here, in fact, email me directly. I'll take care of it personally.
So for that one, Justin, go ahead, yours.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it in chat. Just email me with your information for mailing. I've got some orders for my company I got to do tomorrow. I have a ship station here at my house. It'll be out in the mail tomorrow. So hang on.
Okay, and then we're going to do one more here this is going to be for Pedro's, the $50 credit for Wounded Warrior Project. Pedro, you'll have to put in the comment how they reach out to you for that, or how we get that to you.
That's and anybody and my email is in there. I put it out there because if you guys have questions away from here, I'm not on all the time. I'd like to be the behind the scenes guy. Ask Surfer, ask Pedro. I like being behind the scenes guy. So, but if you have questions on something or need some help with something, questions on anything, I'll be more than happy to help you. So write it down and email me whenever you like.
And if you want a free gold buffalo, just let OC know.
Yeah. As soon as I find them, I'll turn them on to you. No problem. Well, that was Justin. That was mine. So, yeah, and Fingers 9. Congratulations. Vote for Pedro. Do you want to put your contact in there, or do you want them just to send it to me and I'll get it to you? Just tell me in the chat.
Yeah. Either way.
Or you can text me afterwards on our group chat or whatever.
Yeah. The other thing that's good, guys, is take a screenshot of this so we have your YouTube name. A lot of people forget to put that in the chat. If you want us to send you the gold backs for the first 2 winners, also include your address so we know how to send that to you. If you want to donate it to the Wounded Warrior Project, just let us know you want to donate it, and then we'll do that on your behalf. If you can include a screenshot, we've already passed the first 2. Go back a few seconds and screenshot that, put that in. That helps us be able to pull it up. We'll put it on the card to call you out for the project as well.
Oh, there you go. Look at that note from Pedro. That's awesome. Yeah, Pedro is in charge of the WWP. He is the man that makes everything happen. Him and Adam J in the background. That's why Adam and Jay and I get along so well.
Fingers isn't going to be able to make it. Are you not able to make it for the 3 days? There's 3 days. It's not just during our session that you can use that.
I have to go find it again. Ellie, did you save the WWP information? I saw you dropping it earlier. If you still have that, can you drop it for Pedro one more time? We're going to be on study at 2:00, which is day 3, and that's that's the last day of the event. There'll be, I'm sure Pedro, there's always stuff going on with giveaways and whatnot. We've got some pretty big giveaways at the end that everybody's eligible for, I believe. And Pedro, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a great event. There's lots of giveaways. I think every hour we're doing something. I'm working on something that's actually pretty big. In fact, Surfer doesn't even know about it yet. So if that comes to fruition, everybody that participates in this show, or at least buys from Surfer and I, will get this gift. So
don't tell me it's like a full set of the different sizes of the gold buffaloes. That would be so awesome.
Well, you're talking about my 2008 set. That's
yes, 2008 set.
That was a 5-year journey that was completed this year, thanks to Facebook. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, guys. And this is when the GSR was really low. I traded 110 ounces of silver for just a little under 2 ounces. I got the 2008's the only year they had the 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, and 1/10 ounce buffaloes. And I've been wanting that for quite some time, and I achieved that goal this year. So,
That's
as we
awesome.
talked about earlier, setting goals, whatever, it was always on my list, and I just, being Sunday, I'm going to get a little religious. Said I just prayed about it. Said, hey, when it's time, I will get a sign, and he'll talk to me. And sure enough, worked out just great. And the guy to this day still calls me and is learning more about silver and gold. And guess what he's doing now? He's investing in silver and gold. So
There you
it's
go.
you never know
We're
who you
gonna
meet
run
on your
this.
journey along the way.
We're gonna run this one more time here. So Fingers is going to be on a cruise. He's not going to be able to make it any of those 3 days.
Oh, so
all right, Silver State Stacker 777, which is much better than the number before that times 3. So I like that much better.
Too funny.
All right, well, congratulations.
I think it's awesome that we still have 100 people in here listening to us. I think that, and we appreciate that too. I know, so like I said, I'm behind the scenes, guys. I'll come up and chat once in a while, but like I said, you guys have my email. Surfer's extremely busy. I have more time to chat and help. Not that he doesn't, but I don't know how to phrase that. Maybe that's coming out all wrong.
Yeah, so
I have a hard time articulating what I'm talking about, but hopefully
we'll try to get I'll try to get another live stream this week, but it might not be until the auction. I've got a really busy week, and then I'm the only one here holding the fort down with one of my kids that has special needs. So I was doing that all day today and yesterday, and instead of getting anything done here. So hopefully I can get some stuff done. But
hang on a second. Hang on. Hey, bullion on a budget. This is where OC is going to turn into a hypocrite for a second. As I chatted with Surfer about how we both did our journeys, and he did the collectibles. The Buffalo set only came out in 2008. That's it. It's a collectible because they're not making them anymore. They're not going to make them. Well, I can't say that because I don't know what the Mint has in store, but that's the only year they did that set. This is 2 ounces of gold that's worth over $17,000. So it was a no-brainer for me to do the GSR move at this juncture.
But it's not. I mean, if you go by weight, it's way overvalued.
Oh, it's insane. But
so how do you justify it? How do you justify that? Because
I just did. I just did because I only did it 1 year, and they only made so many of them.
How does a weight stacker justify paying that much money? Because technically, when I talk to Yankee, for example, he will buy pre-33 gold, but only if he can buy it at spot or below, for the most part, maybe a little bit above it. If we get into a full-on SHTF and all of a sudden there's no electricity anymore, it's maybe going to be worth spot, right? It really wouldn't necessarily carry a premium over that. Now, I would disagree because I'm not just a weight guy, but how does a weight person justify doing that when?
Well, that's the easy question for me to answer. I started at 7 years old. I didn't start being a weight guy. I was a collector. I bought more. You were with me yesterday when we went to Sill's place, Tangible Investments, and I took my 1880. I think the year was now. It's on my piece of paper, but it's scattered on my desk. I took one of my CCs I bought when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and still looked at it when we were at the Long Beach Coin Show. Said, "Hey, dude, this is MS 64 or 65." Absolutely, send it out and get it graded. I didn't do that until yesterday.
Is that the one that got dropped?
I'm still a collector, and I know that CC is worth about a good anywhere between $400 and $700. So is it worth it? I probably paid less than $10 as a kid, and I spent $70 yesterday to get it graded, to have a coin now graded and official and slabbed, worth $600, $700, $800.
I think it was worth 700 to 800 when you walked in the store. I'm not sure when you walked out.
Yeah, we can tell. See, here again, we're sugarcoating everything. You guys, you wouldn't believe this. I had this coin in a flip, and for some reason, it decided to crack that day. I dropped and fell on a tile floor. Less than a minute later, they took the coin, put it in another flip. I gave it to the guy, Rod. Gave it to him. He put it in a flip, but didn't fold it. He handed it to the guy that was going to get it out and get it sent graded. It dropped on the tile floor for a second time. So
So make sure the flips are closed when you guys are doing this stuff, and make sure
Yes,
it's, you know, it's
silly,
good. But
yeah, silly things. So anyhow, to get to your point, I recognize what collectability is and what and things that value. Just like with cars, I knew cars. I could look at a car and without doing anything else, I could give it a value, know what it would take to fix it, and know that I can make profit in it. So just like with coin collecting, and just like how I made my living being a car dealer, I made the money. A business saying goes: you make your money on the day of the buy, not the sell. You buy it right to sell it right. We try to buy coins, you and I, a little bit below spot so that we can sell it at or a little bit below if there's margins for it to give good deals. I'd rather sell a bunch of stuff at deals and keep the doors rolling and keep the inventory flowing than sit there and try to get top dollar and everything. The guys that sit and wait for top dollar and sit on merchandise for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you know, God bless them, but it doesn't work. Recognize your ability to get in, get out, know that you made your money on your buy. And like I told you before, I have an exit strategy every time before I buy any lots. If someone calls with 3 monster boxes, I have a vehicle to move that. Someone
well,
calls with a
and I'll
gold
say
buffalo, I have a vehicle.
you make your money when you buy stuff and everything you do.
Exactly.
It's about how you buy it first, and then the actual realization of it's going to be when you exit out of it. But that buying's going to make a difference on whether you make profits or not, and how much. And how I would answer that, OC, is this: percentage of collectibles to wait for you is probably super low. Mine's much higher because I'm a pre-33 guy and I've got some rare stuff. So
I can tell you the price point where I did back up the truck. And that's the latter part of when I owned my dealership, when I gave my notice that I gave everybody a year's warning.
yeah.
That's when silver was $15, $16. And I said, you know what? This is when something's telling me to back the truck up. And I did. I bought for a solid year. Anything extra I had. And if I had a month that exceeded goals I never had to rob Peter to pay Paul in all my years of being in the dealership. So any month, anything extra, all the money went into that. That's it. That's it.
But
So
what I'm saying though is when you look at paying the amount you paid for the 2 ounces of gold buffaloes, even if they come out with fractional gold buffaloes next year, those will still carry a premium on them because they only minted so many of them. Okay.
exactly.
You're still going to have that. Now, when I talk to people from India, I've got a lot of people I work with from India. They can't understand why anybody would ever pay more than spot price for metals. Okay, they don't do that there. They pay spot price for it. I mean, there may be a slight little bit of a premium over it, like a percent or two, but that's it. When they inherit jewelry from grandma or from their mom, they melt
Yep.
it down and they create new jewelry each time. No one can wear the old jewelry. It's really interesting, but they're only going for weight, period. They're not.
Were you with me when the Indian couple, they were older, probably about 10 years older than me? They walked in, this lady was pulling the earrings out of her ears, the bracelets off her arm, and putting them into a bag, and they were cashing out right there in front of us. So
No, but that's what
I've
they
witnessed that.
do.
Yeah.
And now I'm just saying they don't care about coins. Coins isn't a thing. It's just the weight. So they're just looking by gram. Okay. So they don't care if it's a Lady Fortuna bar or if it's a JM bullion bar or if it's a Engelhard bar. They don't care. There's no additional premium to it. It's just they're just looking by the gram, and that's what they're going to buy and pay for. And that's a big percentage of people that buy gold and silver are from India. You look at China, it's the same thing. They buy stuff by the bars, and in China, it has to be 4/9 fine gold and silver. That's what they buy. They don't want anything that's less than that. And so, it's only Western society that's used it as money heavily still, that still has some of that in kind of circulation, not general circulation, but stacker circulation, to where it's 90% and it's not really that refined. And so, only in our society where we still have these markets of, I have something you don't have, and collectability of things, do we get these extra prices on it? But I would say, based on what I know from your stack, you don't go out of your way to spend a ton of money on, collectible pieces, and therefore buying the Buffalo is such a small percentage of your overall stack, it really doesn't matter that you paid extra for it. You know, a lot of my stuff is still pre-33. Some of it is inexpensive. Some of it's a little bit more expensive. Some of it I probably need to get rid of and move out of it. Others I plan on holding because I like the history of it, and it's fun to have some of it that's rare, and I can do that. But most of what I've been picking up as of late over the last, I'd say 6 months, most of it's been pretty heavy into weight. And so, you know, you do what you need to do to kind of fill these different gaps, and it's going to be different based on where you're at the moment, and you know how you're doing stuff. So if you have no constitutional silver or junk silver, I'd say right now is a great time to go get a bunch of it. And if that's all you have, then I would say stop and probably start buying some, you know, some coins and eagles and other things like that. But, you know, OC's helped me figure out how to buy more stuff at spot or below it. And so when I've bought most of my eagles, most of them have been below spot. And you also have to remember that being below spot is helpful, but it's not as important as buying at the right times too. And if you're not a sophisticated, dollar cost averaging, if you're more sophisticated, you might be able to pick the relative bottoms and buy the dips a little bit better. But you know, it's better to buy silver, you know, it's better to be able to buy some silver today than to have been too worried about getting a little bit below spot when it was at $90. I don't know how else to put that, but it's, you know, just because you can buy below spot doesn't necessarily mean it's the right time to be buying for you. Okay. So you got to look at the deal. You've got to understand what's going on in the market. You know, we're going to have probably consolidation for the next 3 or 4 months here at these prices, probably bouncing between, for silver, probably between $50 and $70, maybe 60 to 80, somewhere in that range. And it's probably going to sit there for a while until something triggers it to where it takes off. I don't think this is 2011. I don't think we're in 1980 where it's just going to go down to $30 and stay there for a long time, right? Or even stay at 50 and just sit there forever. And the reason for that is this government's broke. We're about to hit $40 trillion in debt. They need to print $2 trillion in new debt every year, minimum, just to cover the budget deficit. And then, you know, we've got other things like, hey, let's go and put another $4.5 trillion into military and other stuff like that. And what was that? I forget what they called it. Not genius. It was the big beautiful bill adds like $5 trillion. Okay, that's not even in the system yet. So we're automatically going to 45 trillion. And so we're going to be in the 50, 60, 70 trillion, and we're going to be getting up to 100 trillion as we start to get into the 2030s towards 2040s. And as that happens, guys, it's inflationary. It's just going to keep pushing the price of this stuff up, because you've got to remember gold and silver don't move. It's the dollar that continues to lose purchasing power.
Yeah. So,
and I think we'll leave it at that. But last word.
Yeah. Well, there's one more thing here. Ellie's asking if we have any of the Commander series. I'll answer quick because mine's quick and easy. The only reason I have it is because they came out. Surfer was getting one. I think I bought 3 or 4 of the 1/10, the first one that came out, the Napoleons. And I think I since then sold 2. I still have 2 in the original pack I've never touched. I'd never bought any of the silver because this is where OC would turn into a hypocrite. And if I went there and spent $500 on $200 worth of silver, I wouldn't be accomplishing what I want to do. Do I think they're cool? Is reverse proof my kryptonite when it comes to silver? Anything reverse proof I like more because it's just something different. It's something I like. Will I pay more for it? No. I get it all because when people come to me and need to move 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 ounces of silver, if it's in there and if I want it, I'll just get it at that cheap rate and then stack it that way. So this collectible stuff or all this other things, I get that when I get people that need to move their metals and it's time to cash out. When it comes time for me to cash out, when I have all this stuff, if somebody likes that stuff, then they'll reap the benefit when I get out. So for me, I didn't get any of them. I can appreciate them all. I think they're cool. but in my world and how I do things, I don't believe in paying a premium for any piece of metal, period, unless, case in point, my Morgans I got as a kid or the Buffaloes, because I took $11,000 worth of silver and turned it into $17,000 worth of gold. When it makes sense and you know the industry, then you can make those kind of moves. If you're going on a wing and a prayer and a hope, that's not a smart way for any of us to move forward. So there's my quick answer on the Commander series. Appreciate them, love them. If they ever come in, I'll keep them, obviously, because I'm going to have them at the same price as generic or below. How about you, Surfer?
So I bought a couple of the Napoleon 1 ounce when they came out. Then I sold those on eBay. I actually sold one on eBay and I sold one at the coin show, I think.
Nope. You sold it to one of our clients who I recently took that to the smelters, and I talked him into not melting it and telling him to find some of his coin dealers that call him for this kind of stuff. I said, if you tell me you have this, you'll sell it
Well,
immediately.
I didn't sell that one to Rob.
I thought you did.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I could have swore that you did. Oh well, that's okay.
I mean, maybe I don't think I did, but maybe I did. I sold those, and then I got like 10 of the 10th ounces, and I think I've got 2 left. And then I bought a gold Washington MS70 graded, and I bought a silver Washington MS70 graded, and then I do have a 5 ounce of the Washington and a 5 ounce of the Napoleon. I like those designs the most. The rest of them I didn't really care. Like the patent design, I don't like that one. I didn't like it very much. But they're not. Yeah. They are coins. Okay, so they're not rounds. They are coins. But to me, there's, you know, I've given up on sets, and the reason I've given up on sets is because they're not worth anything when you collect the whole set. I chased a bunch of sets when I first got started, and I still have these things. And they're worth less than if you buy them individually. So, as I get my website up, I will probably be putting a lot of these things on sale individually if anybody has interest in them. The sets just don't. People want to chase them; they don't want to buy a set of it. So for me, I've got friends that are stackers that have channels that go and chase all of those things. I've given up on doing that stuff, but the George Washington one has a 250 privy on it. I think they only had 150 of them graded. So, there's a little bit of limited to it. Will I keep it? I don't know. I might flip it. To me, it's kind of a fun thing to have for a bit. I did not get any of the 10th ounces. I'm not trying to complete a set with it. But if you like it and you want to complete the set, I think it's great. But if you're trying to complete the set to resell it on eBay, that strategy has proven to not work very well.
Exactly. Now, when Long Live Coins does his shows and he has all those beautiful 5 ounce on display on his wheel that spins around with all, I mean, do I appreciate him? Absolutely. Am I jealous of that? No, because I know eventually those will come across our table. My phone rings every day on someone's got to do something with metals. That's why we constantly have ebb and flow with what we're doing. And if I have a couple of days when my phone doesn't ring, it doesn't make or break my day. So to answer your question, I think it's like the $20, 20 ounce Kit Kat bars. Do I think they're worth the premium? No, but do I have some? Yes. Did I pay a premium on them? No. I mean, you know the drill. You know the people that come to us. They
do, and like this last week, I sold some silver as the price was starting to go down. I sold a 20 ounce Kit Kat bar for $1,300 plus shipping cost for them. Did I really want to sell that? Not necessarily, but I needed a little bit of extra cash at the moment, and I don't want to touch my cash reserves right now. And I had some extra Kit Kat bars, and I decided to sell one of them. Right? Maybe the price of silver is going to go a little bit lower. I sold the Death Star because someone made an offer. I had it listed at 5,000. They made an offer for $2,500. I countered them at 3,000. They upped it by $1. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so I freed up a little bit of capital there. I still have my cash reserves that I have for my 3 months of cash. I don't really want to touch that. That's emergency funds. And we've got a few things that our family's doing right at the moment that I need. I could technically take it out of the emergency fund, but with silver going down, I was able to sell silver at $250 an ounce. I was able to sell silver at $68 an ounce for the kick-out bars. I think that's what that came out to, is about $68. It's okay to sell a little bit of that stuff. I still, the kick-out bar, I might take a little bit of a loss after taxes and some of the fees on there, but with the Death Star, it's like a 400% return. So to me, it doesn't matter. It's aggregate. It's not each individual piece and all that stuff, but I also want to move a few more things on eBay, so I have some good sales there, so that I have a channel and a way to get out. One thing most of you guys do not have is a retail channel to sell your silver on. So OC, for example, when you buy a lot of your stuff and you want to go move it, you take it to the smelter. That smelter is not paying you retail.
Well, yeah, but here again, we can't sit here and preach exit strategies, and you and I not have our own. And I shared mine openly. Look at
exactly.
What I put out to my friends and everybody that's in this community. Hey, look at, I'm liquidating 10% of my holdings for whatever. Am I going to go to the community first and say, this is what I got? Here you go. I'm going to offer it at whatever. Let's just say spot, just for sake of argument. And they say, hey, I'm going to offer you $1 less. I'm going to say, well, you know what? That's within 30 cents of where my smelter's at. So am I going to drive an hour to LA to blah, blah, for 30 cents and gap? No. Okay, here you go. And we'll just do the normal business. Cash hits my account, I mail it out. Not that big a deal. And if I have to move it quicker, and if everybody quits buying silver, look at the refineries. Nobody can move 90% right now. What's your exit strategy, Surfer? Your 90% of your collection is a 90%, and you're taking a 30% hit right now on the stuff that you got. You're not going to sell it because that's not the smart time. But if you have to do the money, what is your exit strategy? These are all things as stackers that you have to paint every scenario. And not only do you have to paint every scenario, but you have to have a solution to that. I learned this being a businessman and owning a dealership and having 30 employees every day for 20 years walking in my door. I didn't put my briefcase down without someone coming to me with some kind of problem. My brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, neighbors, friends, daughter had a heart attack. I heard it all. So when I approached my retirement strategy and my metal strategy, I have an exit plan for everything I got. I got a list of friends who are consistent buyers, and if nobody wants it, I go to the smelters.
My dog's howling at the full moon. Does that mean he's going to turn into like a werewolf?
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna call out the West Texas stacker. I never get to chat with him. Everything's done on chat on his channel.
Yeah, is he in here? I didn't see.
Where he can hear me and I can say hello to him. So just like he acknowledges me, I want to be the same.
What's up? How's it going? So one thing I'll just add to that. So I'm not calling you out not having a retail channel. I'm saying that I have a retail channel, which gives us other options. So, there's certain things, guys, that you may have that it's going to move for a heck of a lot more on retail channels than it is back channeling with your friend or, other people in the community. That's why I keep a retail channel still open with eBay. The website, when we're selling things on there, my goal is not to try to make the most money off of it. It's to sell it at a probably a lower price than you're going to find on other bullion dealers online. And it doesn't cost me, more than maybe 3% to sell it. With the fees on Shopify, they charge you fees for every transaction. Getting free on the internet to sell stuff is difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw it up on Facebook Marketplace and do all that nonsense and meet people. It just depends. But at the end of the day, if I needed to do something in the next 2 days, I could absolutely make that happen without batting an eye.
Wins, come here, come. Yeah. So, but if you're selling your Buffalo set, the 2 ounces of Buffalo, you're probably not going to be able to get a great price off of Facebook Marketplace compared to eBay. You'd probably get a lot more on eBay because there's a lot more buyers and there's people specifically looking for it.
Well, there's a time and a place for every marketplace. Like my Kit Kat bars, things I know that people will pay premiums all day long. My Buffalo set, my Gold Buffaloes that are part of my deep stack. I know that those things will sell easily because everybody wants them. It's the smartest metal to own. Eagles, the Cougarans, the 90% stuff still has to be refined to 100% pure. Why not just stack the pure stuff that doesn't need any refining? There's no question about it. This is ready to go. If a jeweler needs to buy it to melt down a buffalo to make a ring to feed his family, then he doesn't have to pay the refining and pay the premiums on it. He can get pure gold right straight from me if he needed to. Just to cite an example.
So all I'm saying is I have a retail channel now that can help you. It can help Chef Stacker LA. It can help other people in the area that have an item that someone is not going to just buy off of Facebook Marketplace because there's not as many people looking for it.
Exactly. And then people say, well,
it gives you options.
Yeah, you can put it on Piers Metal. Here's the difference, folks.
I wouldn't touch Piers Metal personally, but that's just me.
Well, and I'm with you, and I've cited the reasons why that we don't do that because, and I'm not going to get into it. Never mind. The bottom line is, I can have two Toyota Camrys sitting on my lot, identical. I can price one at retail at, let's just say, $23,000. But I know if I put it out there for $21,995 or $775, which one do you think I'm going to sell every day and twice on Sunday? The one that's cheaper, same mileage, same tires, everything's identical. So why would I have 5 Kit Kats for sale and sit there and try to hold out for the premium? Hey, you want these? You're making me a fair offer. I'm going to take it, move on. What's the other thing I preach all the time? If there's profit, take it. There's more coming. God provides. We'll be okay. Very simple philosophies I live by. I don't have to hold out because I need to make an extra 30 cents on this silver or an extra dollar or two. Yeah. I'd rather move volume and move it all and move on to the next one. That's why we do so well with our flipping. People, well, how do you move that so fast? I said, when you call me and tell me you're selling this, the first thing I do is pick up all my buyers. And they know that I'm going to call them with a deal. They don't have to ask if it's fair, if it's right. They know that I've done that research for them. They trust me that I know what I'm doing. And it makes business for me very easy because they don't have to question my integrity or what I bring to the table. And same with you. We're very transparent. I know you in person away from this, and there's no difference, folks. What you see is what you get. He's a good guy, a great guy, knowledgeable guy. Awesome. I love it.
I can't lie. I tried. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean,
my wife she can tell you get the authentic me. You get the good and the bad, but this is me. This is who I am. And
exactly.
It's the thing, guys. So I make mistakes. I figure stuff out. For me in general, I buy what I want to buy. I buy what I like. Have I made a few mistakes on maybe buying something that I ended up not liking? Yes. Have I lost money in doing it? No, because I bought a lot of this stuff a long time ago. 2 or 3 years ago when prices were quite a bit lower. And when I have had those those thoughts on stuff, it's more of just my preference has changed, and I don't want that anymore. I have learned that it's not a great thing to buy up a bunch of inventory and hold it for 2 or 3 years thinking I'm going to do an auction. I thought that at one time. So I'm like, hey, I want to buy all these cool coins. They're going to do really well on an auction one time. Nope, that's not a good strategy. That's not how this works in this industry. Putting a set together is fun to chase. It's not great to sell. So It's a little different if you're doing like Morgan Dollars, for example, or you're putting it together like a proof set or, things like that, chasing those things. But the modern coins, putting together a bunch of Marvel coins and all that other stuff, I've sold all of those sets because they just don't hold the value over time. Spider-Man coin, it got up to $200 at one time. I think I paid $90 for it. I sold it for $180.
Yeah.
Those are now going for probably about $80 right now.
And that's another thing that we don't. That's another thing that we haven't even touched on, trends. This is when people can make this argument doing the collectibles, get the Superman, the Spider-Man, Bob.
Yeah.
Everything goes through trends. Hey, now this is hot. Right now, everybody. I'm watching people today on 5 grams of silver, Geigers, bidding $20 over. Well,
that's dumb. I mean, they're just Geigers. There's nothing special for those. I don't know why they're so overpriced.
And when I teach people, when people say, hey, come talk to here, come show us about this, I said, this silver that everybody's paying a premium for is no different than this generic silver right here. It all came from Mexico. It all came from Canada. It all came from America. Silver is silver is silver. So I don't give a, pardon my French, a rat's hiney about what's on the silver. At the end of the day, if you got to sell it to feed your family, or if you got to move it to pay a bill, you got to, my hot water heater broke and I don't have extra money. My job's tight. They cut out overtime. I got to make ends meet. I hedged. I bought some silver. Okay, I've got this silver. At the end, even when I buy it, I don't care what's on it. You're not getting premiums out of me. It's back to spot. Sorry, folks, because because if the market drops $3 or $4 by the time I buy it and get home, I get to eat that. So I protect myself by buying it back a spot. And if it doesn't move that much, and then I can offer it back a spot and still make a decent profit. That's called business. I'm sorry, but that's how the world works. You go and cut hair, you do manual labor, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're a handyman, whatever. Your tools cost, your knowledge costs, and that's what happens with metal. So you always put yourself in that position. I'd rather have 5,000 generics than 2,000 Eagles. Now, will I take them when I get them and get them that way? And do I have them on my stack? Absolutely.
Well, see,
but
I just get the 5,000 Eagles for the same price as the generics.
Well, when you have people like me in your life that put you in that position, then that's a wonderful thing. Like I said, there's a reason why all this works, and
So all I'm saying is
hang on, let's
set your expectations high and you can make it work. So I wanted to put this out. I went to 7-Eleven today and it said we don't have any quarters. Stop asking. It's this.
Yeah, and I'm looking at fingers. I mean, I love when people cite these examples. Yes, but some people want the Lexus, not the Toyota. Great example. I was a Toyota master mechanic. I worked on all these cars, so I see exactly what you're talking about. If you want the luxury, the what I call the creature comforts, and you want to pay $10,000 extra for that car, but when you lift the hood or lift the car up in the air and it's identical on the bottom of both of those cars, that's there. Thank you for making my point. There's my point right there in a nutshell, huh?
But they're not identical.
I'm just citing Toyota. If you took a Toyota, let's see, Toyota Avalon, and you took a Lexus RX 300,
it's not the same car though. I mean, it is underneath. It's the bells and whistles on the outside. It's the squishier seats, the nicer leather. Yeah,
I'm referring to creature comforts. The rim size is the same. The brakes are the same. The suspension's the same. The struts are the same. The shocks are the same. The brakes are the same. That's all I'm pointing. And the same reliability. Great, like I said, it's a great point. Yes, you're right. Yes, you can do that. Here again, we're all given choices of what we do. This is why we all differentiate. This is why there's 100 people listening to us right now. Every one of us has a different opinion about something and what we're talking about tonight. I'm just sharing my thoughts and my mentality and where I'm at in life and how I go about doing things. Now, do I think it's smarter to buy a Toyota than a BMW? Let's take that same argument to an Eagle and a Germania. I think the Germania is overpriced. It's expensive to own and maintain. It's expensive insurance. A brake job will cost you $300 on a Toyota. It'll cost you $1,000 on a BMW or a Mercedes. Going into these things, the more knowledge you have, you're better prepared to know your entry point and your exit strategies. Before you buy that silver, what's your exit strategy? Okay, this is my deep stack. This is meant for if I keep my health and I don't get cancer and life is good and I've had a fair shake and I'm able to generational wealth, then success. If I have to sell it to help pay for that, pay for the doctors, pay for the medication, my dog got sick and needs a surgery, I don't have the money, I'm on Social Security, do I need to move 30 ounces of silver to cover for it? I'm just citing examples of why we do what we do. We all have our process of what makes sense.
And just to add to that, OC, real quick, is in kind of the theme of the second part of the chat tonight is you're going to find things you want. Okay, OC Stacker found the 2-ounce gold buffalo. Would I pay for that? Probably, because it's a cool set. If I had an opportunity to find one, I'd probably buy one. It's been on my list. But it's not something I'm chasing. It's not something I'm actually actively looking for. But if it came across my desk, I probably would do it.
Let me share this with you real quick. Yeah. I've never seen one in person the whole 5 years I was hunting it. I've heard about them. I've seen pictures of them. I've never. The first time
Well,
I
I've seen
physically met one,
Scrooge had, I think, a 10th ounce. He
I
showed
think
up
he has
with
a 10th
once.
out bus, but no, I'm talking about the whole set. I'm
But
talking
to get
about.
the set is really hard to find. Yeah, it is. It's hard to find. So all I'm saying is, if it came across my desk, I would definitely
Ellie.
buy it. But I wouldn't necessarily go out there too. My dog's a Cavapoo. He's a Cavalier poodle.
Yeah, I'll answer mine's a little bit longer. Our oldest dog is a Labradoodle, Sage. She's 17 years old. She's got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel where she's got days. We've got a black lab, we've got a chow, and we have a rescue that we've taken it to 3 different veterinarians that they really can't pinpoint what kind of dog he is, but he was a tripod. His name is Oliver. He's tan and white with a perfect shaped heart on his head, who has only 3 legs and was found in a trash can in Armenia, and he was our rescue. So there's my 4 dogs, and the tripod is the most loving. Well, Surfer's met all the dogs. Oliver will lick you to death. He's the greatest dog
He's most
on the
loving
planet.
unless the puppy shows up. He freaks out a little bit. But
Winston might have something to say about Oliver.
yeah, Winston need to learn a lesson though too. So here's what I would just say to that. So if that set came across my desk, yes, I would buy that OC stacker. So is it something I'm actively looking for right now? It hasn't been. It's just not a priority for me. But what I wanted to point out is, yes, Toyota and Lexus, Honda and Acura. The guts for the most part are the same. Okay. It's even you can even make out the shape, right? It's usually just some of the molding that's different. Maybe they change the outside steel design just a little bit of the car.
They call that changing the escutcheons, is what they call them.
Exactly. So the Lexus is going to be a little quieter than the Toyota. They put a few more parts of padding in it, right? It's a little
they're more
comfier,
insulated.
all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So here's what I want to throw out though, and this applies to silver and gold too. It's about how you buy things, like I mentioned. If you go in to buy a brand new Toyota from the dealership or a brand new Lexus from the dealership, you're paying top dollar for both of those kinds of vehicles. Okay, high premiums on it. You have the ability to maybe get a lease return that's 3 years old and get a much lower price. Okay. Mm-hmm. You may be willing, because you drive all the time, that you feel like you need a more luxurious car, for example, and you have the money to do it. So you decide to go for the nicer, the Acura or Lexus. At the same time, it's possible to go find one of those cars that's a few years old and buy it for less, buy the Lexus or Acura for less than what the Toyota brand new costs too. So, you can, if you learn how to do this stuff, you can go and buy Eagle, American Silver Eagles or Maple Leafs for the same price as a Silver Buffalo, okay? A generic coin or a bar. Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to do it. You have to be able to build that network up. You have to have the cash ready to buy when people are wanting to sell right then. And, sometimes you might be buying at a higher overall price, but you're buying below spot just because you've got to wait until someone's wanting to sell at the same time. But it's okay to go after some of the premium nice stuff if you're buying it right. I don't recommend going and paying top dollar for things. Like right now, you've got the Liberty Gold, I forget, like 2016 or 17, that has the horse saddle on the Bronco. Mm-hmm. And people, a couple of years ago, people wanted $6,000 and $7,000 for them. They want like $19,000 for that coin now. It's a cool coin. But unless you really like Broncos or you really love that coin, there's a lot of other things you can do with it. But it falls into the category as the Gold Buffaloes, right? It's got a lower mintage. It's kind of a cool piece. Some people really love it. Other people may say it's a waste of money. But if you find something you love that's going to make you happy, go get it. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so buying the Death Star was really cool. I accidentally bought 2 of them at the same time. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't find them. And then 2 people found them at the same time, and they're like, okay, here you go. You got to pay me. So when someone wanted to buy one of those, I sold it. Could have I held out and made more money over time? Probably. But, a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush, so to speak. Yep. So you take the advantage of things. You go with it. Right. So, I think that's part of this whole thing too, is it's understanding that, I get too many people, like I mentioned earlier, that are just asking, what should I do? What should I buy? How much should I get? forget all of those questions. That's not even the right question to be asking. The right question to be asking is, what is your overall goal, right? They should be asking, what should I be looking at doing? And I would say, first off, for me, my goal is to get to 20% of my net worth in precious metals as a foundation of sound money, so that if my real estate takes a huge hit, I have my metals to go back on. If my job gets taken out by AI, I've got my metals to go back on. If we have a big medical issue, I've got my metals to go back on. It's pretty solid. And yes, it would be better to sell at 120 than it is at $60. But guess what? 60 is a heck of a lot better than at 30. And it's a lot better than at 20.
Where most of us that have been stacking for a hot minute are thankful for. Real quick, let's say hello to Sean Precious Metals. I've been trying to say hi to him since I saw him.
Sean. So Sean, we have this on here real quick. I just want to hit his thing too real fast, and then I do need to run. So but before I do that, I just want to point, someone mentioned the sunflower. You guys, a lot of these things come down to the mintage, and you've got to look at how many they make, the US Mint makes. So, it's not just design that people like. A lot of it's the mintage that goes on. Now, that takes me to this point too here. So there are 4th of July privy quarters that are clad, and they're just being released into the general public. There's only 250,000 of them. Okay. That's considerably lower than the millions they make every year. They might even go into the tens of millions on quarters every year. I don't know how many they have. Maybe one of you guys knows. But 250 is not very many, and they're going to be hard to find. They're in circulation, which means that they're being put into the bank rolls, and then those rolls are getting, stores are picking them up when they need change, and they're just going to be out there in circulation, and people are going to be trying to pull them out. They're going to be hard to find. So, 7-Eleven's already said, no, we don't have any. Don't ask for quarters. 7-Eleven's probably not even the right place to ask, but it's maybe an okay place. Like high transactional places that take a lot of change are going to be things like C-stores. But you might even be better off going to the bank if you know the bank tellers and seeing if they've got any new quarter rolls that just came in. I don't know the date on when they actually started dropping those, but I think it was last week.
I deal with 3 banks, so I am going to go in and ask the people that I do have a relationship with and say, hey, if I just want one roll, and if I ask all 3 of them, they each get one, then I'll find 3 rolls. I'll move 2 of them and keep the 3rd one.
Oh, the rolls aren't. You're not going to find them in a roll. Like it's not you won't find a roll of them.
Are they coming in bags to the banks?
They're just randomly in circulation. So you could go get 3 rolls. One roll from each bank, and your odds of having one of them in there is probably less than winning the ball.
Yeah, interesting.
So you're not. They don't have rolls of the 4th of July privy coins coming out. I think there might be one that's put into like a box. It's more like that.
And someone here asked if we thought it was a smart idea to buy the Liberty Bell. What do they ask? $17,000.
Avoid that thing, guys. So, in my opinion,
I just want to give my 2 cents on that. This is how I approach it and look at it. Would I rather spend $17,000 on 1 ounce of gold, or would I rather go out and spend that same amount and get gold buffaloes? And if you sat there and did the math, it's a no-brainer. You'd rather spend the 17 grand and get 4 or 5 buffaloes.
But if it was 2 ounces for 17,000, would you rather do that or the gold buffalo set?
Only if I knew I was in the position of where I am with my buffalo set from 2008.
I know, I'm just messing, but yeah. I agree with you. Look, I think the gold. Okay, first off, it's the first shape coin that's coming out of the U.S. Mint. Okay. So that's cool. Second off, they have low mintage on. I think it's the half ounce that has the lowest mintage on them, but I could be wrong. Maybe it was the silver. It's a high premium, guys. So if you don't have an eBay store where like my eBay store for a coin like that's going to be 5% fee. If you don't, that's where you need eBay. And You will make a lot more money reselling that on eBay if it actually gets legs and gets a premium on it than you will trying to not pay taxes and moving it locally, with someone else. You're just not going to get as much. So it's a huge premium. It's much higher than the gold buffalo set that you bought, OC. That's like a lot higher premium. Does it mean that there's a revaluation coming? Probably not. It's just going to be really low mintage, and they're just putting a huge price tag on it. They put a huge price tag on the gold flowing hairs that had the privies. They didn't make very many of those, and those are going for like $100,000. So will someone buy them, and will they pay more for them? Probably, but unless you're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in precious metals, maybe even $1 million, I'd be cautious buying, coins like that to try to flip. That's a big risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it is what it is. What it is. At the end of the day, I mean, dude, I'm in the part of my life where I can't really collect anymore because my wife and kids know nothing about it, don't want to know anything about it. What they do know about is the jewelry and the precious metals I have set aside and what the values of them are. So the CC I sent out graded yesterday, I just did that for myself. I'm probably just going to flip it and ask me what I'm going to do with that. I'm probably going to go buy more silver and gold with it, something that they know the value of that I don't have to worry about. So, but it's just another way to make money. I can take a coin that's worth 200 raw or 6 to 800 slab. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, guys, I would love to keep going all night. I probably could talk all night. I don't know if it's a skill or if it's a disability.
Well,
but
we should try to do this. We should try to do. I don't know if we should. Well, we've already shown what we're going to do for the WWP. Those were here to enjoy.
Yeah. So you guys, look, go to search WPP, search Wounded Warrior Project auction on YouTube, and it'll pull up the 3 different days. You can go and bookmark those so that you don't miss them and you get the notification. Subscribe, bell icon, thumbs up here.
Maybe Pedro, maybe Pedro, if he's still listening, has it. Maybe
he might have the links too.
And then what we can do is there a way for us to pin it on your web on your channel? That's
but no one ever looks at that stuff. I mean, I'll put them on there maybe tomorrow. But the only time anybody looks at any kind of a post is when I do like a survey about like a silver going to $50 or $100. That's the only time anybody comments. Otherwise, they just ignore it. That's why when we do like channel member calls, like no one shows up to them because no one knows that they're going on. Just so you guys know, if you're a channel member, I don't get your information. I have no idea who you are. So I have no way of contacting you. I have no way of reaching out to you to say, hey, come to our Zoom calls or anything, unless you guys email me. That's one of the problems I have with eBay with YouTube. They try so hard to make sure you don't know who anybody is. There's no way for me to communicate out to you guys, but I'll put a post out tomorrow that will have the 3-day links for you guys to go to that. But come and check it out because it's gonna be a fun.
Yes, Winston. Hey, real quick, I want to address Mr. E. Should we stack any platinum? Mr. E, stack what you Winston, understand. If you know platinum, palladium, rhodium, and you know how your entry plan and your exit plan, then great. But I also believe in diversifying. Do I have platinum? Absolutely. Does Surfer? Yes, he does. So it's being diversified, just like stocks. You don't buy all GM products. You buy Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Tesla, obviously, and you diversify. So
Get in here.
Platinum is a great metal to have. Just make sure you have it labeled separately because it looks a lot like silver. Anything more than that, you can email me and we can get into more depth if you would like. But to answer your question, the more diversified you are, the greater chance of gaining profit on your metals, because platinum could be $1,700 today, and then we watched it drop up, ran up to $2,700 in January. So should I have sold? Sure. Did I have a crystal ball that said, hey, this is the time? No. I don't need the money, so I didn't sell it. I'm sitting on it, just like my stocks. I don't have to sell them until I need the money, or got to pay a bill, or pay, do something, make a car payment, or cash out some stuff to go buy a car instead of having payments. We preach a lot of good things here, and we speak the truth. I mean, there's
We've
there's no
probably
dumb
tried
questions
most
ever.
of the stuff you guys are thinking about, and so ask the question. um, we've probably tried it. Some of the times we failed, some of the times have been good. Look,
Yeah.
I would, in my book, I think the most important thing to start with, if I were to redo everything from the very beginning, I would start with getting some silver for emergencies, right? Constitutional junk silver. I'd probably get a couple $100 face of that stuff, put that aside, and then I would start concentrating on finding silver at the best possible prices, and I would focus a little bit more on the weight. However, if you're buying a substantial amount, I still think Silver Eagles are the best way to go. They're the most recognizable, and they potentially could be without taxes. My gosh, buddy, they could potentially not have any tax ramifications down the road. We don't know yet. It's not set up that way completely, but if you can buy them right, that's always going to be the item I'm going to go for first, being here in the U.S. But if it's a difference of $5 or $6 an ounce, I'm going to go with the less expensive stuff. The other thing I would do is I would then go and get gold. I like to do about an ounce for every $50,000 in net worth I have. I think it's Rick or Richard, one of those two guys. They email me all the time, and I forget which one mentions it, but that's not exactly putting you at 20% in gold, but that's okay. That's just a starting point. That doesn't mean that's all you should do, but I would start off with that. Once I get to where I'm in the hundreds of ounces of silver to maybe close to 1,000 ounces of silver, and you've got enough gold for at least an ounce for every 50,000, that's where I start looking at platinum. I don't mess with it before that. And I wouldn't recommend you guys get too carried away with platinum. Platinum's way more volatile than gold is going to be. And platinum is only really going to come back once we have a super strong economy that comes back and you've got a big need for it. We're just not at the point for that right now. And it's also going to be a stronger thing when we start to get the automotive industry started to go. And right now, the automotive industry is not doing very well. No. So it's a good time to buy platinum. It's not a great time to go too crazy on it unless you've got your other stack in place, in my opinion. I only have 1 ounce of palladium, and I only bought it because it came in from the coin show, and I like the design. It's a Mercury, Mercury dime design that's on it. And I thought it'd be cool to have one of them. I don't see those come across very often. It was a MS-70. So I picked up an MS-70 for, about the cost, a little bit less than the cost of buying, one of those things raw. But they have high premiums on them. I was talking to John over at Tangible Investments, and we were talking about rhodium. He's a big fan of rhodium, and he's like, we're getting close to the point where he wants to buy a ton of rhodium again. And rhodium, he says, always rebounds back and has a huge profit. I would not tell you guys to do anything with rhodium unless you have someone that'll buy it from you. That stuff is really hard to find, and it's really hard to sell. Palladium's a little harder too, but not as hard as rhodium. And then platinum's harder than gold and silver. Not everybody takes it. So you just, before you get into the platinum stuff, you need to make sure you know how to buy it and where to sell it back. And then you've got to be willing to hold on to it for, I would say, at least 10 years, if not 15 years. And if you're okay doing that, then there's the potential to make a lot more money. I've had Sean's Precious Bullion. I've had him on multiple times. We've talked about platinum. Platinum has been worth twice as much as what gold has been. So, if you can pick up platinum for $2,000 and then all of a sudden gold goes to 10,000 and platinum turns into 20,000, you're going to feel really happy about that purchase. Yep. But I can't guarantee it's going to do that, and I don't know how many years it's going to take before that happens.
Well, we're talking about diversification, and with that, I'm going to say goodnight because I got to take the trash out and pull the cars in and do all my stuff. Everybody, it was great to chat with everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us as long as you have. Appreciate you. I appreciate you helping out and supporting Surfer. You guys have a great week. If we don't see you beforehand, have a great 4th of July. Please come join us on Sunday if you want to just come say hello. I try to pay attention to chat because Surfer's busy. He's going to be running the show, so I'm just going to be the behind the scenes joker. Hopefully doing a good job for WWP.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming. We'll talk soon. Adios.
Bye-bye.